just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, back and better than ever, baby. June 23rd, 2025, and the Pac-12 has a media rights deal, sort of. This is going to be one of those shows. I can already feel it in my loins that we're going to wind up having one of these conversations today where it's like, yeah, the Pac-12 has a media rights deal, and it's with CBS, and CBS has made the Pac-12 a better conference than the Mountain West, and they're going to be a P4, and then you get into the nuts and bolts of this deal with CBS. And I think it's really important to say right off the top, this is a great deal for the Pac-12. It's a really good deal. It is multiple games a year on CBS, significant content on Paramount Plus, but this is the exact deal they already have for 2025. And my biggest question is, you're not going to have the majority of your games on CBS or CBS Sports Network, it would appear, right? Because when you look at the assets that we have seen, and this is the question that I'm asking you very pointedly. You look at these right here. It's great that the championship game, the Pac-12 championship game, is going to be on CBS. Huge. That's great. But 3 regular season games on CBS, 3 regular season basketball games. The entire basketball season, all you're getting on CBS is 3 games? That's it. Okay. CBS Sports Network, regular season football games, undefined. Regular season men's basketball games, undefined. No women's distribution. Notice that it doesn't say Pac-12 basketball game. It says men's basketball games, which is a huge deal. So my question is, and again, I want you to understand, I think this is a very good deal. We don't know how much they're getting paid, which is, if you're a Pac-12 fan, that should be terrifying. Because it feels like the exact same deal you have in 2025, and we also don't know how much you're getting paid in 2025. We have no idea. We have no idea what you're getting paid from CBS. None whatsoever. My guess is again, as I've said, go back on the channel, and I'm not telling any Pac-12 fan that this isn't an unequivocal win. It is. This is the exact same deal you had for 2025. Except you get one more game in football, because football is what really matters. You get one more game. So if you're Oregon State, Washington State, and Boise State, are you the only 3 games that are going to be on CBS? Because I think Oregon State is the biggest brand in that conference in football. Going to have to rebuild it now. But I think Boise's a clear 1A, number 2, perhaps. And then I don't know who else you have in football. And here's my other question. Gonzaga was such an unequivocal win in men's basketball, and I think we all agree with that. You're only getting 3 games on CBS with Gonzaga in your conference? These are the things that I'm concerned about. Where's the money part of this? Why do we not know how much money CBS is paying the Pac-12?
Because it's not a big number. That's why. If it was a big
that's
number,
probably true.
Like, I don't think it's rocket science to just, let me just assume, right? If it was a big number, you would be saying, hey, we got this great deal. We're getting paid a huge number. Look at us. We're better. That's what this conference does. That's what the leadership in this conference has repeatedly shown us that they do. That's the only reason I say that. So when you look at the details of this deal and you're like, well, you're only getting a couple games here, and you got some football games on CBS, including your championship game, that's all phenomenal. I love that. But what you're not going to get away from with your total bigger picture media rights conversation is it is going to be a hodgepodge of different parts. This is the main part. This is the, hey, everybody, our championship game is on CBS. Some of our bigger basketball games, I would presume, are also going to be on CBS, because that's the other thing I think this deal screams is that, hey, the bigger CBS wanted the bigger matchups, the bigger game. Hey, let us go into your schedule both on football and basketball and pick out and cherry pick the big games. So have to assume that some of those 3 basketball games are going to have, as he said, Gonzaga all over them, I would guess. And then from there, it's like, all right, well, this is the deal with CBS. What is the deal with the CW? What is the deal with any other, like Amazon or TNT or some of these other second-tier, secondary partners that we all know and love? Because that's my question. You didn't put out a number on this portion of your media rights deal, which tells me, this can only be due to lack of inventory. You can't tell me this is an $8 million deal just on this, right? I mean, this has to be what, 5? And then the other pieces that you put together in conjunction with this will get you to 8, or if you're a Pac-12 fan, hopefully 9 at best. So that's why there's not a number. And again, I don't think that's hating. I think if you're a Pac-12 fan, you should be having this conversation with yourself. You should say, okay, well, hey, they didn't announce a number. Great that it's on CBS, but should we be concerned or should we feel good about this? Like, is this like, hey, this is a win, but not really because we don't feel great about it? That's what I feel like this did. Like,
yeah, I think there are a lot of questions. It's a win, no doubt about it. Across the board, this is a win for the Pac-12, unless the money is not good. And that's my single biggest concern here. I've told you for 3 months now, my biggest concern is that the Pac-12 is going to make a deal where they're the ones responsible for producing the games. And the defunct Pac-12 network showed us a lot of things, including you don't want the people that run the Pac-12 in charge of producing games.
Right.
And I think that's a very big question about this deal. And I think, this idea that somehow, some way this is taking, or doing damage to the Mountain West. Hey, you guys got to forget about the Mountain West. Like, if you're a Pac-12 fan, worry about your own house, right? I think that's something that Pac-12 fans tend to obsess over their former home. I just wouldn't worry about the Mountain West at this point if you're the Pac-12. If I'm a Pac-12 fan, I'm telling you, you need to know how much the CBS deal's worth this current coming season and next season. And again, remember, this is a grant of rights through 2030-31. So you're tied to this deal for 5 years, which is fine. The next question is, what else? Because if it's still the CW, are you really that excited about this media rights deal? If it is not, for instance, everybody's asking me, hey, what about ESPN? Where's the ESPN part of this? Are they not going to get an ESPN deal? This does not preclude the Pac-12 from having an ESPN component. But certainly if you are ESPN, what this tells you is what we've reported since the beginning. ESPN, CBS, I don't care who you are, nobody was all in on the Pac-12, taking the entire deal lock, stock, and barrel. I've been telling you that for months and months, and Pac-12 fans have been telling me I'm a hater. I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, here's your media rights deal. You have a deal with CBS and Paramount Plus, and you have no idea what the payout on that deal is. And now you're in a position where you have to go and find somebody to take the majority of your games. Because if you get a minimum of 3 games, and I think that one particular word is a very big deal, and let me put it back up there. I think this is a very big deal where it says a minimum of 3 regular season men's basketball games, a minimum of 3 regular season football games. Because what that is telling you right there is, well, if Boise State pops off and they're undefeated, we have the ability to pick up a November game of consequence.
Right.
We have the ability to also drop a game. So they're going to carry 3 games. And if they want to pick up a game late, great. But there's no obligation to take more than 3 games. That was one of the big things that everybody was trying to read into this language. They can pick up a game, they can drop a game as long as they air 3 of them. That's what this deal says.
Well, what 3 are you going to take too is the baseline, right? I mean,
that's a big one.
I think to that point of like, hey, this minimum verbiage that's on that screenshot is like, hey, if the word we're using is minimum of 3 games, does that also then mean you can look at a piece of paper that has your schedule on it and say, hey, well, based on your scheduling matrix, these are the 3 games that we want out of the conference. And, if they happen to be only including the top brands, Boise State, Oregon State, throw Washington State in there. Hell, we'll be nice and throw San Diego State in there just for conversation's sake. But we're not going to talk about Utah State or, any of the other lower end brands. This is exactly what I've been saying for how long? How is the Pac-12 going to make this a situation where there's equity across the conference? Because you can't say to Boise State, well, you're an important member, you're going to get more value, and then go to Utah State and say, you're just as important to Boise State, even though CBS wants nothing to do with your football brand on their network. That's not how it works. You can't have it both ways. So that's been my concern, whether it's media rights in this package here that you're looking at, or it's revenue distribution throughout the conference, which again, on this show, we're big proponents. You win football games, you should be paid more. And I think it's no different in the Pac-12, especially given their situation.
Well, and that's interesting. I was texting with somebody today who was telling me, hey, there's a chance that those CBS games will pay at a higher level. And maybe there is a way to have that be the unequal revenue distribution.
Yeah.
Because the other thing about this graphic right here is note what it says about CBS Sports Network. Regular season football games. Completely undefined. There's no definition there. It does not have a number. And what that generally means in TV, in my experience, is, and I've only seen this one other time, and it was with the Arena Football League, the old AFL that went defunct.
Yeah.
They literally had and I can't remember how it was worded, but essentially it said, we'll carry regular season games. Undefined. Wound up being like 3 of them because nobody watched and they didn't carry anymore. And I think that's the risk you run when you build these media rights distribution deals with no guardrails. But we don't have access to that contract, and we have no idea how much they're paying. And I think we may, and I think this is another really important question, will we ever find out in advance how much that deal is worth to the Pac-12, or is it a performance-based deal that CBS cut with the Pac-12 that says, hey, either, if you're getting 1 million views a game on CBS Sports Network, we'll trigger a clause that says we'll take a 4th game on CBS. Like, is it all performance? Hey, if you eclipse this amount of viewership, we'll give you this amount of money. Yeah. Like, we have no idea. And I think the reason we have no idea is because they have no idea. They're going to have to perform. And if your other games wind up with another partner, and again, I can only imagine that the CW is probably the right home because they're incredibly flexible. Because I again don't believe that you can have a major football network who is simply not sure what games. Because are you going to go to ESPN and do a deal where what's the biggest matchup right now in the Pac-12 in football? Oregon State and Boise State?
Yeah.
Let's say that's on paper
probably
the biggest matchup.
Yeah.
Oregon State and Boise State guaranteed to be on CBS every year. Because that's what CBS is going to want. They're going to want, I would assume, an early season game. And then they'll probably have flexible scheduling. So
Certainly.
they'll be able to say, hey, we're going to play that Boise State, Oregon State game because they're both one-loss teams and we're late October. Okay, we're going to play that game at 7 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock. Move it to 7 o'clock. That game goes on CBS, the big CBS.
And that's how CBS is protecting itself, right? I mean, they're
I would
not
assume.
going to, I would assume that CBS isn't doing deals where they're saying, yeah, Pac-12, you pick what 3 games you want on the big now. No, that's not how it works. The TV partner is going to say, okay, this is what we're willing to pay, which I have to agree. And I'm just going to keep saying this today. Sorry if it gets repetitive. I don't think we're hating at all, even a little bit. You didn't release a number on this. So that puts me in a position where I have to say, okay, yeah, CBS has done a deal here where they've probably given themselves a lot of scheduling flexibility. They've given themselves a lot of financial flexibility. They've also reserved inventory, in my opinion, as the prime months of the sporting calendar come through, which in my opinion is October to December or so. That's prime football season. Obviously you've got the NHL and the NBA working.
Yeah.
Obviously, and they're obviously not involved in baseball. But my point is that CBS is sitting here saying, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to dip our toe in the water here as a network, and we're going to see if the Pac-12 has the goods in this format to deliver viewership. And if they don't have the goods, we only have to put 3 games on. And if they do have the goods, then we can add more.
I'm also curious to note, will the Oregon Ducks, will Oregon and Oregon State be one of the games? And will that be counted as a game for the Pac-12?
Great question.
If that game's at Research Stadium,
it should be. If
that game's at Autzen and it's a Big Ten, it's a Big Ten TV game. I mean, that's the stuff that should worry you if you are a Pac-12 fan.
Yeah.
Because Oregon State, Washington State at this point, is that really
But I think for the Pac-12, that would be a good game, right? I mean, that's a
certainly,
good rivalry for the Pac-12. It's where they're
Apple
at.
Cup is always
Yeah.
But I'm just curious, what level of marquee do we need to get a game on CBS? And is it, because I personally think Boise State, Oregon State is going to be one of the best matchups in that conference every single year. I have to believe those 2 teams are going to play for a conference championship within the first 2 seasons. I have to think Oregon State, and Boise State's not going anywhere. Now we find out Chris Peterson's been consulting the program, and I have to believe that Boise State and Oregon State are going to be huge matchups there. So I have to think that maybe that's a game. But again, if we look at Washington State, Washington, Oregon State, Oregon, those are probably the 2 biggest TV numbers in that conference. So are those 2 of the 3 games minimum? And then the 3rd game is a late season, late window game? Because if that's the case, this is not a great TV deal for the rest of this conference.
No.
If you're San Diego State, who doesn't really compete in football at this point, Colorado State, what do you say to Colorado State, who is, I mean, if nothing else, they are tenacious and tough.
Yeah, I think they're a dark horse in the conference. I mean,
but
Colorado State's got a good program.
But is that going to put you on? That going to put you on CBS?
No, and that brings me right back to the hey, we're Colorado State. Hey, we're this squad. We may not be Boise State nationally relevant for one season because of Ashton Ginty, but hey, we have a good football program. We deserve some money here, and if we start going out and leading this conference, we want to be one of those marquee games. And that's where I think the Pac-12 finds itself getting in trouble, because because we haven't reached the stage in the conversation yet where member institutions of this conference would start to be unhappy. This would be kind of like the first sort of thing that could potentially be a problem down the line, depending on verbiage and how this will get, dealt out. And I look at this and I say, okay, Colorado State's a great example of a school with an overachieving football program for their level that can beat more notable schools in this conference, and maybe won't get the credit that they deserve. And that's where you start to get in trouble, because what have you promised these schools? We don't know. But you clearly promised them something. And then that brings me to, okay, well, let's say that these schools together as a collective, excluding Gonzaga on some level because they don't play football, said, okay, we're for the first couple of years just going to have equal revenue sharing. What if that's the agreement? Because if that's the agreement, this deal makes a hell of a lot more sense.
Yeah.
If these schools said to each other for the first 3 seasons, as an example, we're just going to distribute revenue evenly so that we can grow this conference together and we're all going to feel really nice together.
I don't think so. I think what this partnership represents is a huge win for the Pac-12. There's no doubt. Are you putting Texas State, who again, I am telling you is, and I've told you this for 2 weeks now, it's a fait accompli, man. They're joining the conference, right? Are you putting Texas State and Fresno State on CBS? You're not. And I think that's the biggest question is this going to be simply, because this is a partnership. I think that's the other thing that a lot of people, you need to get on board with the fact that CBS issued a statement on this. Like this isn't just an afterthought. This is these two working together to create what is supposed to be the biggest part of the Pac-12 media rights deal. Why haven't we gotten a dollar figure? And why is it so undefined? Why are women's sports not part of this deal? Why? That is a huge question. Especially, you're telling me we're not going to see softball? We're not going to see women's basketball? We're not going to like that. CBS Sports Network has no desire to do that. That's what I am so perplexed about. Like, where is the women's part of this? And again, if this is a true partnership, which it appears on paper to be, why are there so many undefined parameters of it? That's what I would like to really understand. But I don't think we will. And I think this is more than ever. This is a deal that somebody like Brett Yormark in the Big 12 had better be paying attention to, because we're going to talk about the Big 12 has a huge problem in football. And I will continue to sound the alarm, and everybody here thinks I'm an alarmist and, oh, you're just trying to scare people and it's clickbait.
You're an SEC homer, Monty.
The Big 12 doesn't play big football games. They don't play important football games. They don't have marquee matchups. But neither does the Pac-12. And the Pac-12 is telling you, oh, we're focused on being a P4. We're focused on, okay, if you're the Big 12 and you have your games, women's and men's, on ESPN and ABC, and you have this great TV partnership, pay attention to what the Pac-12 is doing. Because if they get a CBS deal and they get on, even if they just get a small bite of the ESPN direct-to-consumer package,
right?
That's a significant deal for the Pac-12. Now, if it's the CW, if it's the same old BS that we're seeing here, where it's a game on ESPN and everything else is on the CW, yeah, this is a good, not a great deal. This is the deal they needed, probably not the one they wanted, probably not going to make them a ton of money.
Right.
This is the deal they needed. But if they wind up on CBS, and then in addition to the CBS deal, they get all of their women's sports, let's say, a la the Big 12 on the ESPN direct-to-consumer, or on ESPN Plus, which is where the Big 12 stuff is right now, on the Watch tab in the ESPN app. You can watch pretty much anything you want there. That's a really good deal. And then if you only have a couple of games on the CW, that's a really good deal. I'd rather have all of my other football games on ESPN's direct-to-consumer platform than on the CW. I'd rather have every single game. Put little Jimmy and his friends up with the cameras on top of the press box. As long as that's going on the ESPN app, I'd rather have that than be on the CW.
Right.
Because I think the CW has very limited reach. Very limited.
Couldn't agree more.
Very limited upside potential, which is all you should care about, because the Pac-12 has to be in pay the lawyer bill mode right now. Make more money, pay the lawyer bill, right? Like that's what you're focused on. And if you're on ESPN's direct-to-consumer platform, that'd be a huge move for the Pac-12.
Absolutely.
That's when you're cooking with gas. If it's CBS and ESPN, this is an unequivocal win. That transformative partnership that Terresa Gould talked about, CBS and ESPN working together to distribute the Pac-12, boom, done. You just made a transformative partnership. That CAA deal that's been a complete bust out for you, okay, now totally worth it. But if it's a couple of games on CBS as it is now, and a game, maybe two on ESPN direct to consumer, you're gonna tread water here. And if you're Utah State, at Texas State, and again, Texas State fan, watch what you wish for, because right now you're a big fish in a small pond.
Box checker.
Yeah. What happens when you go to the Pac-12 and you're on the CW? And you're not one of the teams that's routinely getting on CBS. You're shrinking. You're not growing.
Yep.
So I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. But let me again say this, because I'm sure, and I haven't looked at the chat yet, but I'm certain Pac-12 fan is telling me what a cock I am, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and I hate, and Gloria's in my pocket, and save your fingers, dude. I totally get it. This is a good deal. This is the beginning of a good deal for the Pac-12.
Yeah, we'll see, man.
But anybody telling you it's no big deal, that we haven't heard about what the money is, if it was a big deal, they'd be telling us. If this was a windfall of cash, they'd be telling us. And they're not. And I'm pretty certain it's because they're not. My guess is this is $2.5, $3 million is what they're going to get from CBS. That'd be my guess. And if that's what it is, if it's a $20 million deal, and there's still 50% of you got to still go make 50% of your nut. Now, I would be scared.
That's a lot.
If this is not, and I'm just telling you, if this is not, because what have we talked about? If you are getting, let's say $7 million, right? If we're at $64 million a year, and this deal with CBS is not a pretty good chunk of that, $40 million, which I have a hard time believing. If this is not $40 million, I think you're in real trouble here.
Totally agree.
You
got to have that money.
This has to be, and if you're a Pac-12 fan, I'm just asking you, how much money do you need this CBS deal to be worth? That's a huge one. It is, it's a big one. But the other thing I would tell you is, if you're a Pac-12 fan, you really need to stop. You're so focused on how much damage you can do to the Mountain West. And I'm telling you, this does not cost the Mountain necessarily. We don't know. This does not cost the Mountain West its deal with CBS. I don't think I don't think they are mutually exclusive, because I think this feels like a smaller deal. It's great that the Pac-12 is on CBS Network, but I need to know what games are going to be on CBS Network.
Yeah, I mean, I think the difference is CBS is fully committed to the Mountain West. On its current deal, was fully committed. Like, hey, all your games, are in some form or fashion will be in our family, right? Like, Sports Network, big CBS, like whatever it is. It's a different level of commitment, and I think that's what's hard is that for the Mountain West, you're fine. You were a partner before this. You're going to be a partner after this.
Yeah. And
I just don't think that in that way they're connected. I do think that there's a possible connection in the concept of, hey, well, if you're CBS, you've already got inventory being used up by the Mountain West, obviously. And so with this deal, as we've just talked about for however long now, you're saying a minimum of 3 games. And then depending on how that goes, it's basically hey, let's set our watermark for success here and see what you guys are capable of, and then kind of go from there. That's kind of, to me, what this feels like.
Yeah. I don't think I just think it's bad form, and it's bad karma to be sitting here. Hey, you got a CBS deal. Be happy for yourself.
Yeah.
Again, this idea that you're rooting for the Pac-12 to end the Mountain West, or that the Mountain West would fail. Like, I don't understand the.
Once again, though, I will say, I do wish that Terresa Gould would talk about this. I wish that now that it's public information and you put out a graphic and CBS put out a statement and the whole world knows, I would like for you to come out and talk a little bit.
But you can't do it with Yogi Roth. And I've seen this interview and everybody's all boned about it. And it's Yogi Roth, man. That's the. What do you think he's going to say to Terresa Gould? What do you think Yogi Roth, in this interview that they did? I ask you, what is it that you think Yogi Roth is going to ask Terresa Gould, or say to Terresa Gould, that's going to be like, oh my God, I cannot believe? He's not going to ask her tough questions, man. She needs to sit down in an environment where it's not scripted and have a real honest conversation about how this is moving forward, because CBS is an absolute win. And I totally understand that Pac-12 fan hates the Mountain West for whatever reason, because I still to this day, that's the most fascinating part of this whole thing. Why do Pac-12 fans hate the Mountain West all of a sudden? What is it? What is it the Mountain West did that you're so pissed off about?
Well, it's just it's a measuring contest, right? I mean, that's what it is. You went in, you thought that you were going to end the Pac or the Mountain West. You thought that they were going to go in, steal other schools, end that conference, and then you were just going to pick up the pieces and, basically duct tape that thing together and rebrand it as the Pac-12. And that didn't really work out for you. And I think that's the hard part, is like, hey, this is what we tried to do versus this is what happened versus this is the position we're now in as a conference with our lawyers and legal team and now CBS. And so it's just this thing where it's like, oh, well, here we are versus where's the Mountain West? It is I would say it's the inherent insecurity of doing something you've never done. And also, doing something that you probably know is uncouth. It is below bar. It's not really the right thing to do, but it is what you did. And I think that's why you hear this or see this grandstanding, this positioning of like, hey, we're better than the Mountain West. What's the Mountain West going to do? We're ending the Mountain West. Like, that's why you see so much of that sentiment, because you went in and tried to do something and it didn't quite work out the way you thought it was, because UNLV stayed committed. If you had gotten UNLV, we'd be having a different conversation, and you're probably getting 10, 12 mil a year, but you didn't, and you're not. And that's why I think there's insecurity.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I continue to say, I hope they both survive. I think I still maintain that the Pac-12 is in a great spot if they will stop spending money on lawyers. It's as simple as that. If this deal comes in underweight, I think that's a huge problem. And again, Yogi Roth, in the interview, at least what I saw, Yogi Roth did not ask how much money this deal was worth. We have no idea what the dollar value of this CBS deal is. So, all right, enough of us, more of you. Let's get you your comments on the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at Bucked Up, buckedup.com. Today, only 40% off site-wide when you use the promo code Monty. You get 40% off. I'm telling you, I say it every day. I use Bucked Up creatine every single day. I use Bucked Up collagen peptides every single day. Their products are awesome. I'm a huge fan of Bucked Up Energy. I'm a huge fan of especially their supplements. Here, as you guys know, we drink Monster Energy pretty much on a daily basis. I use nothing but Bucked Up supplements.
They are the best.
So, by far. So I'm a big believer that everybody watching this show, if you're not taking between 5 and 7 grams of creatine every day, you're doing it wrong. If you are, I love what collagen's done for my skin, my nails, my hair. I have it every day in my oats. I have it with creatine in my oats. I also use all of their pre-workouts. My wife, who I talk about all the time, that does triathlons, uses all of their pre-workouts. They have high stim, they have no stim. So there's no, like big pounding heart stuff. If you don't like that in your pre-workout, their hydration products, you name it, they're the best in the business. All of it is 40% off site-wide today, but only when you use the promo code Monty, MONTY, Monty at buckedup.com. All right. I dare we wade into the waters.
Dare we?
Of the comment section. Joseph Harper, a member for 21 months.
Nice.
Appreciate you. Joseph Harper, one of the most prolific prize pickers on the show. Caitlin Clark is the free play today, coming up in 20 minutes. We'll go over our prize picks for you. I can see Fresno State getting one of the 3 games because they schedule P4 teams in the beginning. But if you're making this deal with CBS, and I think this is a really good point that Joseph makes.
Right.
Is one of your 3 games the Oregon State game and the Washington State game? Because if you're taking one of those or both of those, or I think it's really interesting to see who else gets in there. Because again, I think Texas State's a really interesting conversation. They're only coming into the Pac-12 because they want growth and more reach. Do you get growth and more reach if you are not on CBS? I think that's a big question mark.
Yeah, that's
a big question mark.
That's the problem. Like I almost find myself wanting to be like, hey, great win, great job. This is amazing. And yeah, it's great that you got it with CBS and not Roku. Not
Huge.
like Apple TV or like some, again, no disrespect to those platforms, but again, for a college conference, like a collegiate athletic conference, a D1, used to be P4, now is a G5. Like that would have been killer for you. That would have been awful to be with a streamer. You needed to be with the CBSs of the world on that level.
Does this deal bring Memphis into the conference?
Well,
because I think this is a big question. Over the weekend, I know it wasn't Yogi Roth, so wow.
Monty.
I said okay.
Monty.
Listen to Ed Scott talking about the Pac-12 and what he's focused on for Memphis.
I know that she's worried about finding her 8th full member. I'm worried about trying to get us into a Power 4 conference. That is our first goal unequivocally and has always been our goal. I've had no real substantive conversations with Val Ackerman. Told y'all before, and I'll tell you again. When we get an offer, I will stand up in front of you and be accountable for whatever decision I make as the athletic director in conjunction with the president and the board of trustees. But until we get an offer, there's nothing for me to talk about. I checked my email knowing I was going to get that question today just before I left, and I did not see any breaking news on the ticker that the Pac-12 announced their media deal.
Well, now they've announced their media deal. Oh, wait, they haven't because we have no idea what it's worth.
Yeah.
Is Memphis interested in the Pac-12? I think their interest is tepid. And I say that because if Memphis comes into the Pac-12, and it's only a 3-game deal, does CBS expand its deal with the Pac-12 if Memphis is a football member? I have to think they do, because Memphis is a hell of a brand, and I think Memphis would be a massive win. Memphis, I think, would trump any loss you had with not getting UNLV.
No question about it.
Right?
Memphis is a bigger ad than UNLV.
I think Memphis. I haven't made a secret of this at all on this show. I think Memphis is a really good athletic department and a really good university that has its roots, footing, and grounding. Its foundation are the people of Memphis that support that program. And I'm telling you, if you get Memphis football, that'd be amazing. But if you're rooted in Memphis, do you want your fans to have to travel to Corvallis, Oregon? Do you want your fans to have to travel to Spokane, Washington? Do you want your fans to have to go to Fresno, California? I don't necessarily believe that's the right move.
Right.
To send, the great fans of Memphis football to Boise, Idaho. because none of those road trips are attractive. If you're in Memphis and you're a fan of Memphis football, how many of those road trips are San Diego always, because you've got cleavage and great Mexican food? Who says no?
Right.
Who says no?
Right.
Outside of that, what do you have? And I also think it's very interesting that he talked about the fact that he wants Memphis. Dr. Ed Scott said his focus is Memphis in a P4. And again, I'll bring up the Big 12 because I think when we look at the Big 12, and I am not being, oh, you're clickbaiting, Marty. I'm telling you right here, right now. You want to know why the Big 12 is in trouble and why Marty's clickbaiting today? Well, I'm not, because look, here's your strength of schedule for college football. Go ahead and find me somebody in the top 35. Like, it's really tough to do, man. You go up and down this list and you say to yourself, look at the number of expected wins from any conference. And you start looking at these wins and you're like, well, damn, Purdue. And dude, the Big 12 does not play anybody of note.
And then you guys want to complain that Greg Sankey's an asshole for saying that the SEC should lean on strength of schedule, and that strength of schedule should be the core metric, followed by a bunch of bulleted metrics in support of that.
Look at Baylor at 38. I believe that's the top team in the Big 12.
It is.
And then you go to Oak State at 41, TCU at 45. You go to Colorado at 49. You go to West Virginia at 52, the U at 54, UCF at 56, Arizona 57, Kansas 58, Arizona State at 60, K-State at 61, Houston 62. God damn it, Joey McGuire at 63.
I swear to God, if he wins anything less than 10, dude.
Like, this is, you guys, this is shocking. Shocking for the Big 12. And so when we're sitting here talking about, hey, Ed Scott wants to join a P4, I mean, you look at this and I say to myself, when I look at strength of schedule, and I will continue to sit here and tell you, with Memphis at 116 on this list, tell me Memphis football doesn't fit right in with the Big 12. Tell me Memphis basketball doesn't fit right in with the Big 12.
Well, I think clearly they fit in basketball
incredibly well.
Yeah, I think that would be I think that would be the impetus to do this. That would be like the selling point is, hey, we have a dominant basketball program that leads the American consistently. And frankly, when we get into the tournament, we beat teams the caliber of the teams in the Big 12 pretty regularly. And that, I think, is a selling point.
It is frustrating to me that this conference won't schedule up and do what needs to be done to win big-time football games. It's really disappointing. And I understand we talk about this stuff all the time. At what point are you guys going to give me my flowers on the fact that Tyrese Haliburton's not a star?
Excuse me, the Haliban?
Oh, I'm sorry. If Mr., not so strong Achilles tendon.
That's HIPAA.
Anyway, my point is, when do I get my flowers that the Big 12's not doing everything it can do to win every football game it plays?
Yeah, I think it's hard to dispute that anymore.
How? And again, whether it's Oak State James, stroking himself to the transfer portal, or I don't even know what.
You got to get stroked.
Right? Like, I don't understand what we're doing with Texas Tech. You have where's this talent been? Now go build a schedule, because I think all of you that hate on the SEC, I just ask you, look at the top 10, man. Well, A&M, I think last time I checked, they used to be in the Big 8. Now they're in the SEC. LSU, the Cox of South Carolina, Kentucky, hey, we don't need the Sooners in this conference.
Boomer Sooner.
That's 5, 6 in Vandy, 7 at Mississippi State, 8 at Florida, and 9 at flippin' Arkansas.
And look who's right after A&M, bro.
Yeah, Georgia, Auburn, Bama, Purdue.
Like, come on, dude.
Texas. You look at this thing, and I just continue to say, stop talking about what a jerk Greg Sankey is and start asking yourself why your athletic director isn't making a better football schedule.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
And so I turn around, I bring all this full circle to say, if the Pac-12 gets Memphis, you better watch out, because Memphis is going to make the Pac-12 a far more competitive football conference. And they're obviously not bringing all their sports if that were to happen. And I'm not saying it is, or you add Memphis to the Pac-12 and now we're having a different conversation. And if you are a fan of the Big 12, you better be writing letters, emails, calling your athletic director saying, schedule up, because strength of schedule is going to matter. Chewy Gonzalez for $2. Is the Juan Soto deal good? Not seeing good ROI.
Well,
I mean, it's June 23rd.
Here's the deal, dude. His average is only, I think, 15 points off of what it was as a Yankee this time last year. Everyone points to the home run discrepancy. I think this time, I was watching the Mets Phillies over the weekend, and they put a graphic up talking about how I think this time last year he had like 20 bombs or something, like some ridiculous number.
Can we be honest about what he was with the Yankees? He was a guy whose only job was to make sure that Aaron Judge saw more pitches, and it actually got flipped. Aaron Judge made sure Juan Soto saw more pitches.
Yeah.
Who are you really scared of in the Mets lineup? With all due respect, I watch a lot of baseball. When you lose 2 of 3 and it was ugly to Philadelphia, am I really concerned about Starling Marte, who is hitting 254, protecting Juan Soto, or Pete Alonso, who was 0 for 4 last night?
The polar bear.
Excuse me, fat ass, who's got 18 bombs and 290, sitting 290 and 18 bombs with 64 RBIs. So is that Juan Soto, or is that polar bear guy thing?
Yeah, such as
awkwardly shaped fat ass dude.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a give and take there. You're not hitting it in the middle of the Yankee lineup anymore. And you don't have dudes all over the place protecting.
And you don't have the right field fence.
So,
bro.
well, and then there's that.
Again, to answer the question, it's way too early to say the contract is a waste. And this is what every baseball fan and their mom does with these ridiculous contracts.
It is.
Because notice nobody was questioning Ohtani's contract when the Dodgers and Padres decided they want to throw at each other and punch each other in the face over the weekend. Right. Nobody was concerned about it then. But as soon as somebody, goes to a different ballpark for 82 games and doesn't have as much protection around him and his numbers go down a little bit, now the contract's not worth it. Give the guy a couple of seasons, dude. Let's see what the guy's like in 3-4 years.
Aztec Von Tweiler.
Okay.
I'm not encouraged or discouraged until I see the entire media deal. Good news, we have a few on CBS. Bad news, time is running short. Let's effing go and get expansion done. JD needs to stay the F out of it.
Well,
I
couldn't
think
have said it better myself.
I think that's a very rational take, which is surprising coming from a San Diego State fan. My question is exactly your question. You have a few games on CBS. You already have that. I agree with you. You need to see the rest of it. Conundrum. Who in the Pac-12 is paying $20.5 million per team for football players? Probably nobody. Maybe Boise. Maybe Boise. Maybe. Jeff Woodworth, Oregon State, Washington State, and one Boise State game.
I mean, that would be the obvious inference, but I don't think that we can just say with 100% certainty that's what it's going to be, because, and again, this is where you get into the muck. This is the gray area, the big ass question mark on this deal. Hey,
I agree.
One, when do they have to actually pick the game? I mean, if in the contract it says, hey, well, you got to pick one game in the first month of the season, that's your first commitment, right? We're obviously just announced this deal. we're going to want to make good on this deal early in the season to celebrate it, to give the conference momentum, to push things forward. Okay. So I would be shocked if there wasn't a big CBS game from the Pac-12 in the first month of the season. Would be absolutely shocked. But then after that, that's where I think we're going to see the real value and interpretation. Because if we get one game in the first month of the season, but then I don't see you again on big CBS until, week 0 is August 23rd, bro. If I don't see you again until middle of September, that's a problem, bro.
Huge.
That's a big problem.
Well, and I think that's why. Did you guys see the video of Terresa Gould walking out of the CBS headquarters today?
Go ahead.
Oh, fucking God.
Jeff?
Yeah, a little dark in those negotiations there, Teresa.
Jeff, you're welcome.
Jeff.
And it's nice that he has Teresa Gould.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
See what he did there? That's Teresa Gould.
Travis, Utah State versus Texas State has to be on CBS.
Oh,
Stop.
man. Wow.
Stop it. That San Marcos market is going to
Wow. Seventh best team in Texas.
I love that show.
Trav. Logan versus San Marcos, the two biggest media markets in college football. But money.
Man, let me tell you what.
But money. Fight on, Natty. Screw you. Good to see you, friend. No, I'm going to leave it alone. I personally don't like the coverage that CBS does with the Big Ten. It is, yeah, I agree with that. You're not going to tell me that Notre Dame sucks or screw the Irish or anything today?
He's a bum.
Yeah, that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
Usually
your
first comment is screw Notre Dame.
Yeah, come on, dude.
Xavier Ayers, is it not 3 games per school? No, I'm going to say it's not.
Put it back on the screen. I mean, it's up for interpretation.
I mean,
3
regular season football games. I've missed the part where it. Excuse me.
Monty, are your eyes okay? I know you've been a little tired lately. Are you reading that right?
I missed the part where it says per school. No, it's not per school. That would be amazing. Fight on, Natty. Not a fan whatsoever of those 12 p.m. kickoff, dude. They're terrible. If you're a USC fan, that's the bane of your existence.
Yep.
Right. VX hasn't even worn off from the house party last night at the film school. And you have, I hate you. It's fine.
Okay, it's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, you guys aren't even awake yet. You guys haven't even left your No Kings rally. And they're kicking off.
Bro, dude, we don't need to get into warheads and bunker busters and No Kings, and we don't need to get into. This is a sports program. We stay in our lane. Danny
Kiger.
Hey, Danny.
No dollar figure money because this is clearly a transformational partner.
It was only a matter of time, Mike.
Why, Danny? Why be a jerk about it? Why? At least save your hating comments for after Yogi Roth goes down on. Never mind.
We're really looking for a transformational partner.
Oh my God, just like that. Oh.
It's the first sentence.
Wait, you got to play the older clip. Go back to the older clip. I need to hear it again.
It was the.
Can we
that was
some
the
more, bro?
first question.
The one thing I keep saying to potential partners is, given where we are as a league, I don't want these partnerships to be transactional partnerships. I don't want this to be a media rights partner writing us a check and televising a bunch of games.
We're really looking for a transformational partner, a partner that as we launch into this new landscape of college athletics, this new model, this new framework that we're all living under, that we had a partner that would really support us and collaborate with us to build and launch this new league and really brainstorm about how we build something really special and different for the modern day student athlete and kind of what their expectations are in this new world of college athletics that we're living in.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I get this confused? Did you just say that you wanted a media rights partner who was going to support you and it was going to be a transformational deal? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I misconstrue this that 3 total games as a commitment was supporting the Pac-12?
Jake, that's transformative in the wrong
Oh my
direction.
God, bro. I mean, I must not understand English anymore if this is supposed to be supporting the Pac-12.
Yeah, I listen, I think the CBS deal is a very good deal. This is not a transformational deal. Let's settle down. Chewy Gonzalez for $5. The Monty Show stays in their lane like U.S. stays in their lane for the Israel-Iran war.
Bro.
Why?
Yeah, I know what time it is.
Chewy, knock it off! Why are you throwing
Stop.
down the flames of the gas and stuff?
We get it.
Kerosene.
We have B-2 bombers. We
Lighter fluid.
understand,
Oh.
okay? We get it.
Yeah,
let's, you know.
I got a B-2 bomber
Gosh.
for you. Like
Jesus.
and his dad.
You kick a person when he's down.
But Monty, ACC West Coast Commissioner Gumby, Gumby says, so there's no back of the pizza box calculation? No.
Jesus.
No, there's not.
I'm a carb eating motherfucker.
You know, Dwight Lilly, Yogi was listening and asking questions that are relevant. He did not ask her a single difficult follow-up question.
Yeah, what do you mean, dude?
He did. It's Yogi Roth. He is the face of the Pac-12. On the media side, he is the face of the Pac-12. He's not going to go after.
Yeah, no duh.
Hey, where's the money? Why can't you tell us what you're making financially on this deal? What are the finances of this deal? Like, come on, man. Looking forward to the next announcement. I'm sure you are. No offense, Washington State, Oregon State. What did they do last year in football? They couldn't beat the Mountain West, as is now you think they're going to be competitive. I think a deal on CBS helps them recruit, right? You know.
Yeah, maybe they'll suck. I don't know. But they're certainly one of the bigger brands in the Pac-12.
But Monty says, hey, Gumby, it would be back of the subpoena calculations with how often the PAC is with their lawyers.
Jesus.
They got to stop suing people.
Back of the envelope calculations.
Let's see. Timothy O'Hara, Pac-12 fans are upset at the Mountain West because the Mountain West is a threat to them, and they're afraid the Mountain West will eliminate the Pac-12. Well, I think those days are over. Like, let it go, man. Let it go. I see all the people who are like, oh, just sweat them out. Like, why are you so hopeful that the Mountain West will fail? Is it only because you owe them a mountain of money? Is that what you're hoping for? Like,
I guess
that can be the only thing that makes sense. Phil Venzer, hello. The Pac-12 fans hate us for not joining them. I would think so. You know, Brett Sterling Green says they are not going to disclose the money until they complete the rest of the TV deal. That would be stupid and possibly undermine future negotiations. At least it's not an Apple TV exclusive. I totally agree with you.
But okay, to your point, if it was such good money, why would you not announce the number to then influence negotiations to get more out of the additional partners?
I could see it both ways. I listen, if this was such a transformational deal, you would have announced the money. No doubt about it.
There's no way to get away from it.
If again, you do the simple math on it, if $65 million is the number because that's the number we keep hearing, right? If it's $7.2 million per school, how much of the $65 million nut did CBS cover? How much of that $65 million bill? Let's say, right? Like you have a $65 million bill that's due every single year to your partners. How much of that did CBS cover? Do you really think they're kicking down $30 million a year? $32 million? I have a hard time believing that for 3 games a year. That does not seem right. I mean, I don't. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. That's the answer that I think we need questions to. How much did CBS help?
Yeah.
The Pac-12 meet that number?
How much did they chop that number down?
You know, I think that's a big deal. Monty owes a ribeye.
Well,
nothing beats a good Monty show.
Well, except a good ribeye
or a Cougar and Draper.
Right.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
You know. The Sir Killer. Okay. Boise is in all 3 football games and Gonzaga in all 3 basketball games. Well, but I think
But see, you can't do that to the conference. And I don't even disagree with the sentiment, but you can't do that.
But the Pac-12 is going to be a very good basketball conference. I think they will, if the Mountain West has shown us anything. What were they doing? Putting 4 teams a year essentially in the tournament. And I think they're going to continue to do that. But if you look at San Diego State, I would assume would go to the NCAA tournament most years. Gonzaga, certainly, that's the only reason they join the Pac-12 is to make sure they get into the tournament every year. You know, you look at Utah State, that's a fantastic program. And you just start doing some math and you understand that the new Pac-12 is going to be a good, probably not elite, but a good basketball conference. So now focus on football. And that's why the Memphis part.
Bless you, sir.
Hey, now, that's why the Memphis conversation is so huge. Because does Memphis, as a football only, now that we know the CBS deal's done, we don't know the money. But if you're Terresa Gould and you're calling Dr. Ed Scott, he knows the money. If Memphis doesn't join the Pac-12, it's going to be hard to argue that the money wasn't right. And I mean, I'm happy to play the fight again because I think it is really important. Because if Memphis joins this conference, bro, this is a different conversation.
Right.
And you hear what Ed Scott says here. Why hasn't Memphis joined the Pac-12?
I know that she's worried about finding her 8th full member. I'm worried about trying to get us into a Power 4 conference. That is our first goal unequivocally and has always been our goal. I've had no real substantive conversations with Val Ackerman. Told y'all before, and I'll tell you again. When we get an offer, I will stand up in front of you and be accountable for whatever decision I make as the athletic director in conjunction with the president and the board of trustees. But until we get an offer, there's nothing for me to talk about. I checked my email knowing I was going to get that question today just before I left, and I did not see any breaking news on the ticker that the Pac-12 announced their media deal.
I mean, that's pretty unequivocal. Show me the money, and we can talk about it. But until
you don't want to show your hand.
And my belief is the Pac-12 needs Memphis all in. Because the Pac, what most people don't want to understand is the minute Memphis joins that conference, they're the best athletic department in the Pac-12. Because you look at what their non-basketball, football sports are doing, they're all pretty well run. And they have really good support. That basketball program needs a lift. If you put, and if I'm Ed Scott, I'm doing everything I can do to get into the Big 12 because I don't see how Memphis isn't just an absolute slam dunk home run. Let's do it today addition for the Big 12.
Yeah, that's why I don't think the Pac-12 makes sense because it's just a lateral move for you. I don't view it as a huge, massive step up.
And we don't know all the numbers, so we can't say what the net versus the gross is. Like, what is Ed Scott and anybody else who joins that conference? What would the net be based on travel and human infrastructure additions? We don't know that stuff. And I think guessing at that stuff is very difficult. Oh, Gumby, bless you. Bless you. David Persons, if the Pac-12 made a $64 million deal with CBS and associates, then a miracle has truly occurred here. I agree. They are in trouble. I don't know that they're in trouble. But it's not trouble. It's, are you existing or are you prospering?
Right.
This is the Pac-12 Mountain West conversation. If you want the Mountain West to die, if you're one of those Eeyores who just wants negativity for the Mountain West, go find yourself a $10 to $12 million a year deal because that'll end the Mountain West right there. But my guess is you're going to come in between $6 and $7 million, which is not ending anybody. It's not going to end the Pac-12. That's enough. That's sustenance. But are you eating high on the hog? You're not. You're not. Okay. Well, let's say then the Mountain West gets $5 million. Is that ending the Mountain West? No. Are they eating off of a hog? Probably not. Right? I mean, nobody's dying.
Yeah.
But again, what have I been telling you since day one? Is anybody in business just to exist? Do you guys work your 9 to 5s just to break even? Not to have any Jack in the Box money, not to have any weed money, not to have any beer money
to have fun, dude.
Not to have, like, you're telling me you're only going into the office every day to pay your rent and your bills and to meet your monthly minimums. Your bills total $2,681.48 every month, and that's what you're asking for in your paycheck? No.
Hell no.
No, I need Modelo. I need steak dinners. I need fine golf courses.
Supplements.
I need bucked up supplements, which you can get 40%
And I need my
off.
Prize Picks money.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Nobody's in this for it. You know, John Hamm. Does anyone have Chewy's address so I can send him an ice jacket for Christmas? Dude,
why would you say that?
why is that even funny? Like, that's just not funny, man. Ed's waiting for official numbers. It's a smart move. That should come after Texas State moves to the PAC. I would think so. Because Texas State has to be factored in.
I'm just going to keep saying it, man. It's not a bad move for them to go to the Pac-12, but what I'm telling you is it's not a step up. It is for Memphis with the stature they have. That's a lateral move as far as Memphis is concerned. The Big 12 would be a step up because now you're in a power conference. But I don't know. I think geographically it's not great. I think, I'm just not sold that the Pac-12 is making a lot of money. That's what it comes down to. I'm not sold that there's this setup where Memphis could be traveling that far and make, again, what I call a lot of money, make enough money to cover the cost. And
understand
profit.
what Memphis got from the AAC last year. I told you it was $10.5 million about 4 months ago. Well, now we know they got $11 million. Right. So everybody who told me I didn't know what I was talking about, and all the Oregon State fans who told me, you're stupid and you're fat and you're dumb, all those are true. Not a question. When I told you 10 and a half, and now it turns out it was 11, I am dumb. I am not smart, and I'm fat. Totally get it.
And you're a Mormon and dying, I might add.
And don't forget I'm an SEC homer. But the point is,
Right.
Memphis got $11 million from the AAC. If you're the Pac-12 and Memphis comes to town, who's going to tell Boise State that Memphis is getting $11 million? Oh, that's right. It'll be more than $11 million because are you going to the Pac-12 on a break-even deal?
Nope.
So that's why I say the hill is steep to get Memphis into this conference. And that's, again, why I say they can probably only join as a football member, right? It's going to be a tough argument to have. It's going to be a tough conversation if you go to Memphis and say, we can give you $8 million. Bring soccer with you. That's not happening. If you want him to bring all their sports, you're probably $15 million. I would think, because why else would Memphis go through the headache of adding all of that, traveling, people, humanity, not charters. You're not chartering if you're making $15 million a year. I can tell you that. Why would you go through all of that for them to just break you off a piece of like small cheddar? You don't even get the whole slice. You get like, nobody would do that. That doesn't make business sense. Right. It just, Monty owes a ribeye. I just hope that Teddy takes a break from the Cougars so he can get his ribeye. Me too.
Yeah, he hasn't though. He has not let up.
Me too. But Monty, I'm curious, Monty, if you were the Big 12 commish for the day, would you invite Memphis only, or would you invite to keep the numbers even? I would only keep the numbers even. I would only keep if I had my druthers, I would probably, if I were the Big 12, I'd look real hard at trying to get Memphis. And again, I'm a big believer that you need somebody in the Western time zone. You need a Pacific time zone team. I think that there's no joy in going west for the Big 12, and there's no joy in going north. South and west. That's it. And you have South essentially with Houston, right? So do I want Tulane in Memphis? I would love Tulane academically, but does Tulane really make a huge difference for you? Probably not. Okay, so if I get Memphis, and I think Memphis is transformational, I've said that 1,000 times, what Penny's done in basketball and what they're doing in football, I think that would really help the Big 12. I need a flipping football program, and I need that football program on the West Coast. Who is that? Don't think that exists. Don't think it exists, man. Because if I am the Big 12, do I really want Oregon State and Washington State? Well, I could have had that already. So my guess is the answer is no.
Right.
Do I want Washington State, who has all kinds of financial trouble academically or athletically, because their academia doesn't want to support athletics? The answer is probably not. If you said to me today, and I was Brett Yormark, you can have Oregon State, I would be all in yes. Why are they not? I don't know the answer to that. I do not know why Oregon State is not a member of the Big 12 already, because they should be. I think Washington State has always been taboo for a lot of reasons, and we've talked about those on this show. I have no idea why Oregon State is not already in the Big 12. And if you said to me today, give me Memphis and Oregon State, we'll go about our business, done. Better football programs, better football conference, better strength of schedule, which is going to be one of the main factors in the next 18 months to getting you into the big paydays in football. And the Big 12 currently doesn't want to play big football games, apparently.
Yeah.
So is what it is, right? I don't know. It really frustrates me that the Big 12 will not do everything it can do to win every snap of the football. I don't understand it. I don't. And I know you guys are tired of hearing me rail about it, but it is what it is. Backwoods sexy Mike Smith.
Hey, Mike.
Memphis can use some FedEx money to pay for conference championship games. I think that was reported at one time. I think Memphis and FedEx are a fantastic partnership. And Memphis, and Ed Scott talked about this on the show, they don't automatically get the FedEx money. They got to earn it. They got to win games. They got to graduate people. Like, it's a really good deal. It's a really good deal. Mason, all estimates point to the PAC getting at least $8 million. Oh, really? I'd love to see those estimates. What back of the envelope are they on? Because there are no estimates that say they're making $8. You think they're getting $72 million? Where do you see them getting $72 million? Because I don't see that. I don't see that happening. And maybe I'm wrong, but
I haven't been wrong yet. Just pointing that out. You know.
Yeah, I am very curious to see where do you get that money? Like, where do you see them getting $72 million a year? I haven't seen one estimate, and I've talked to, in the last 5 days, I have talked to pretty much every mogul in sports television, and nobody thinks it's anything more than 65. So, I mean, anybody who's watched this show, you can't be surprised that CBS is involved in the Pac-12. We told you that.
Nope.
I've straight up said a dozen times or more, the future deal is going to look a lot like this deal they just did for this coming season. So where are we getting $72 million, and whose estimates? Because one, Mason, I don't know that you've ever commented on this show. So
yeah, where are you reading that? What evidence do you have?
Yeah. And Memphis, I have a hard time believing they make the Big 12. Right, but why would they? So let's do some math. Let's say that it's $72 million. How much is Boise getting? Because we know they're getting uneven revenue. We know that Boise, Oregon State, and Washington State are getting more money than everybody else in the conference. So you add Memphis to that. Do you really think? Let's say that those three are getting $30 million, $10 million each. Now you have $42 million to split between 6 people. Okay. So you do some math, 42 divided by 6, that's $7 million. Right? Okay. So $7 million. Do you think Memphis is coming for $7 million?
Nope.
Do you think do you think Memphis is going to leave the AAC for, and let's pretend it's football only. You think they're going to leave the AAC for $10 million or less? Because I'm telling you, they're not. That makes no financial sense. right? So now instead of $42 million, you got $32 million divided 6 ways, $5.3 million. Oh, that's funny. That's just about the same money you were making in the Mountain West. So why did you go through all the consternation if you're Colorado State of suing the Mountain West? Do you see why I'm saying, like, the money doesn't math? It just in no way, shape, or form. How are you getting to $72 million? And if you're paying, because we know, right? Is there anybody who wants to argue Boise, Oregon State, and Washington State are getting more money than everybody else?
Yeah.
So if you're everybody else, and then Memphis comes in and takes $10 million a year, which again would be football only, and I don't know what they're doing with the rest of their sports, because you just heard Ed Scott say him and Val Ackerman in the Big East have had no substantive conversations. So I'm just asking, do you really think they're coming here for $10 million, less than $10 million to play football when they got 11 from the AAC last year? Like, at least do some math. At least use some common
sense.
I don't know how that even fits together. And if you do, please inform me. Again, I get it. I'm dumb. I'm old. I'm fat. I'm a Mormon. I like the SEC. Your mom's my best friend. Like, I totally get it.
Right.
I don't see how that maths. I don't. TJ Beck, Jake and Monty. You know, Texas State is joining. Will make them a P4 conference, the power 7th best team in Texas.
I don't know how we forgot that, TJ. I mean, it's such a, straightforward thing. I mean,
stay hard.
I mean, come on. It's Texas State.
James, like, this is exactly what $25 million a year. Okay, so again, I know.
Wait, is that real?
I'm not trying to be an asshole or anything.
Bro, what?
On what universe or which planet and how much rock cocaine does it take?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
To make this make sense. So now the CW,
please do the math, please.
CBS, ESPN, and Fox, they're all jumping in.
I'm giving you a fucking answer.
Even though they don't have the inventory. Screw it.
Just throw it in, dude.
$25 million a year.
Dude.
Then they have $100 million.
Oh.
They could go and get 2 more teams and have 10 football members. I mean, why didn't I think of that?
But Monty.
Why? Well, I was thinking if we could get, wait a minute, let me read. CW, CBS, ESPN, Fox, TNT, NBC, Fox News Nation, Fox News Business, CNN Español,
CNBC,
and the Cooking Channel. Now we could get Buc-ee's to be the title sponsor.
Dilly.
And we'd have $7 trillion. And it would just be one big, beautiful bill for a TV package.
Right. Don't you want that, Monty?
What is wrong with you? Like, do you lay awake at night?
Is this a troll comment? Is that what this is? Are you trolling with this?
That must be what this is.
You must be trolling with this.
Has to be.
Okay, what's his next comment?
According to my calculations.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
On the back of my
envelope calculations.
If CW, CBS, and ESPN all chip in $25 million a year.
Just chip it in. It's another piece of wood on the fire, dude. No big deal.
And they get Fox. They could go to 10 teams and each would get $10 million.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Bro, dude. I really hope, dude, I really hope that this sourced information isn't coming from your sideline reporter at Oak State.
Listen, guys, I have a friend who's a sideline reporter at Oak State.
Monty.
Hey, Monty. Hey, Monty.
Oh, my God.
I got a friend.
Dude.
An inside source at Oak State.
In the ops building.
And I don't want you to tell nobody, but him and I have been friends since back in in seminary days. He's now the sideline reporter. He's moving up in the world. He was doing the pregame. Now he's a sideline reporter.
Filling in for somebody.
And him and Ollie Gordon were having a couple of drinks one day.
Do you view this season as a failure?
Him and Ollie Gordon were having a couple of drinks one night. And he told me that the CESPNW is going to chip in.
That's cute. I remember when I had my first beer.
Mike Smith. Memphis just needs to wait for the Big 12 or the ACC. Better fit for Memphis instead of the PAC. Totally agree. And listen, I'm just telling you, if they can get DAZN Espanol to kick in.
What now? Let me tell you what now.
And I heard that Fox Weather Nation was also interested in my package.
Even with all the Doge cuts, Fox Weather Nation is still completely funded.
You know what I'm saying?
It's incredible.
And then Elon in his Tesla.
Yeah, Monty, did you see Tesla Taxi? Now, Oklahoma State players don't have to drive SRTs too fast. They can take Tesla Taxi.
I've heard some wild stuff on this show.
25 a year from all the networks, dude.
Listen, they're all sitting around like doing what guys do in a circle. And they decided they were going to kick in $25 million each. And now Shazam.
Shazam.
That's right, Tig.
Here we are on the 700 Club broadcasting Pac-12 badminton games.
All sitting around in a circle.
Sir? God, I want to say it. I'm not going to say it. Anyone know when the Texas State move is official? I would think within the next week. Midweek Coug. Maybe them boys over at Ion TV could break off $25 million too.
I love the inference. Chip in.
Yeah, they're just going to chip in. You know? I was telling Frazier's dad that I'm broke, and he's like, "Here, boy, let me chip in."
Boy.
Jeremiah Champion, who has a wedding planner because he's rich. Jeremiah, is your wedding planner just going to chip in?
The P2 effect is definitely the real deal.
Yeah, man, I wanted a better wedding. My wedding planner was like, "Here, let me just chip in a photographer." Okay. I can't with this show sometimes.
No
right?
Almanis, dude.
Listen, so, I was at Buc-ee's the other day. And Jimmy Pitaro from ESPN was there. And I said, "Hey, dude, can you save Oak State and chip in?"
Better send those refunds.
Who says chip in?
Dude, James, that's incredible, bro.
Fanboy Prime, if the Pac-12 really wants to make an impact in Texas, they should add South Lake Carroll. Hey, maybe we can get, if we can get South Lake Carroll, and go with me here. Go with me here. If we can get South Lake Carroll, Spike TV's willing to kick in. Spike TV. Spike.
Stay hard.
Okay. But has anyone heard how much PBS is willing to pay for PAC inventory? Listen, I was talking. Guys.
Monty, I flew in on MontyCon for 69 to meet with the executives over here at the PBS network, and they said that they would go ahead and chip in about 25 mil if we only gave them the best inventory we had.
Oh, Jeremiah Champion. She actually paid for a portion of my cake deposit. Wait, cake deposit. Is that what we're calling it now? Huh? Oh, you mean a wedding cake? Oh, my bad.
My bad.
Okay. These guys spend 3 hours a day roasting the PAC, then act like victims when someone calls them out on it. Oh, we do?
Oh, bro, it's Keaton again. Dude, welcome back. I know last time we talked, this show sucks and it's terrible and you hate it and you never listen and it's awful and we're SEC homers and we don't know anything. Now
we're victims all of a sudden.
Well, now it turns out you've listened so much that you're referencing things that we do over time. So I want to thank you for your viewership. You do a great job supporting the channel.
You know what I'm saying? Let's see. David Persons. The BBC Lot Entertainment Division will kick in 25 million pounds. British pound sterling, sir. Could have taken the cake deposit to chip into the Pac-12 media rights deal.
Damn, bro.
See, now it's just growing. Calculations. We went from chip in to cake deposit to no, not that kind of cake, a wedding cake. And now Keaton's all pissed off.
Hugh Janus.
You know. Yeah, Paxton. Exactly right. Jeremiah Champion. Oh my God, I'm just gonna put myself in word timeout. Hey boy, let me give you that cake deposit real quick.
Why don't you chip in some emojis in the comments section to get a little timeout, okay?
Hey Paul, what's for dinner? Cake deposit, boy. What happened? I don't know either. Danny Kiger, the only network made for the Pac-12 is Court TV. Stop. See, like lawsuits.
Right. Judge Judy.
Dude, how did we get here? I don't even know what happened. The Monty Show, as always, reminds you that buckedup.com, 40% all day long. All you have to use is hello cake deposit. All you have to do is use the promo code Monty at checkout. I'm telling you guys, I exclusively use Bucked Up supplements on a daily basis. I take creatine. I think I have told you that. I am a huge believer in creatine. I think a lot of people look at creatine as just, well, let's get big muscles. Truth. It is absolutely a performance enhancer in the gym and on the field or court or course, such as and like. But I'm telling you, the mental benefits that your brain sees from creatine, the science is undisputed. Get it right now for 40% off, and it's site-wide. So any supplement you need, again, I use Bucked Up collagen and creatine on a daily basis. We use their pre-workouts, their proteins, you name it, they've got it. Hydration, bros. I was playing golf at like almost 8,000 feet over the weekend. Trust me when I say you need hydration. Bucked Up hydration, fantastic. Site-wide, 40% off. Use the promo code Monty at checkout to get 40% off. All right, let's roll some more Pac-12. Then we'll get to Prize Picks tonight because Caitlin Clark's the free play at Prize Picks. Jay Beer's a member for 4 months. Nice. Monty's sideline reporter friend bit was funny AF. And it's true. So Oak State James, who's one of our best listeners, and he's really a good dude, honest to God. Sometimes, well, occasionally he's a good dude. But anyway, he won't he never calls the show anymore, which is disappointing, but it's fine.
But it's because of his 6 o'clock class that doesn't exist.
Right.
So.
And the sideline reporter's not in that 6 o'clock class either. But the point is, James has a friend. He came on the show one day, James in the comment section. I have an inside source who's telling me Oak State crushed it in the portal.
It's internal.
And then he went on to say, well, my inside source, who's my longtime friend, the sideline reporter for Oak State football. It's like, hey, dude, do you think he has a vested interest in telling you that they did really well in the portal? No, like he's an inside source. He started name dropping the sideline reporter for Oak State football. I can't help you. My husband is dying laughing with that comment. Hey, what kind of cake you guys serve is up to you. I just think cake is such a great word.
Yeah.
But Jeremiah Champion is getting married and he pays a wedding planner.
He chips in.
Jeremiah Champion. This mofo chips in on a wedding planner person.
You see, I'm a guy of simple taste.
I probably should have had a wedding planner. Telemundo can cake up to 100 million pesos.
Hey, look here, man.
If we can get Telemundo that Portes. Pesos.
ESPN Ocho, Monty.
We have now the comment section has been lost. But Monty. I heard from two guys who go by the initials on sports radio that BYU TV is going to chip in a whopping $50 million to the Pac-12 for all their games, because the Pac-12 loves BYU. You remember back in the day when they said, you weirdos in those underpants who don't play on Sunday, you're not
In
welcome
God's
here.
name, image, and likeness.
God, BYU in the Pac-12. Could you
Dude.
imagine that? BYU being like, listen, we really love the Pac-12. We're gonna reroute some of our tithing to chip in, because Oak State James wants us to. I don't think so. Monty owes a ribeye. Ever since Grocock stole the Xbox, this show has been awful.
Yeah,
terrible,
brutal,
terrible. Jeremiah says, I need ESPN straight to consumer thing to come out already. No more cable after that. Seriously, I just got I paid my YouTube TV bill.
Oh God.
$100.89.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's not good, bro. It's really not good.
I hate the way you guys.
I got the YouTube TV.
I hate the way we watch TV now.
So does our pocket.
Dude, you can't. The Circular. Seriously though, 8 football teams, 4 games a week in conference, not a lot of games to sell. Well, and I think that's why you have to maximize. And I think that's this mathing thing in the Pac-12, because make no mistake, if you're just tuning into the Monty Show, presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. If you guys get in a car wreck, I saw a terrible wreck on the freeway this weekend. I was in Vail playing golf. We were driving home and there are trucks. It was windy. You guys be ready, because when the worst happens, you didn't deserve to get into that accident, but you do deserve an advocate, somebody who will fight for you, who knows how to win that fight. That's what you get at theadvocates.com. Whether it's a traffic accident, you got hurt at work, maybe you got bit by a dog, whatever it is, you didn't deserve that pain. Let the advocates do the fighting for you so you can get back to the best version of yourself. And the best part is you never pay the advocates out of pocket. In fact, you don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case at theadvocates.com. The Pac-12 announced a partial distribution deal with CBS, and it's an unequivocal win. There, we can sit here and we can hyperbole and have fun with a lot of things. This deal right here is an unequivocal win for the Pac-12. I mean, having 3 football games a year on big CBS network, having more games on CBS Sports Network, which is more readily available than the CW, I think, in most homes. That's a win for the Pac-12. But the things that should stand out to you on this graphic are there is no account for women's sports anywhere on this graphic. There is no account for secondary sports, what the old third tier soccer, stick and ball, like the secondary sports, track and field in some markets. There's just none of that. So now my guess is you're going to add somebody like, I would hope for the Pac-12 sake, I hope it's ESPN, some deal with ESPN where you get a slice of that cake from the, see what I did there, from the direct to consumer bit, because I think you really need that, because this deal, while it is a win for the Pac-12, there's no question about it. It certainly is limiting you financially.
Okay, when you say it's a win, do you mean that it's just like a positive thing, or what does that mean to you?
It's a win, in my opinion, because it puts you on TVs on everybody's phone and in everybody's house, but only 3 times a year in football. So yes, it's a win, but it very quickly could turn into a really muted win if the rest of this deal is not fantastic.
Right.
And and to your point, I think that's a really good, what is a win here? Well, right now, without knowing the finances, because again, they didn't release financials on it.
Yeah.
Without knowing the financials, without knowing the full depth of the relationship, because, for instance, when the Big 12 got their deal, ESPN and Fox actually worked together to build a deal that worked for both ESPN and Fox that would pay the Big 12 the requisite dollar it needed. Is CBS working with Turner and their partners at Turner and trying to figure out maybe another part of this deal stays in the CBS Paramount family? and you wind up on TNT. That if that's the case, whew, huge win. This now is not a win. It's a sweep. It is a huge win because you're on CBS Sports Network, and TNT. Right? Big win there. But if this turns into what the deal that is already in place for this coming season with Oregon State and Washington State, game or two here, game or two there, most of it on the CW, and you're paying the production cost, that's not great.
Right.
That's not great. And I think that's where this Memphis conversation fits in. I think that's where the unequal revenue sharing, which we still haven't seen the grant of rights or the charter for the conference. So we don't know what it is. We also know, I think there's one important detail here that we really need to pay attention to. This deal that you're looking at right here, and I don't know, is it on here? I would think it would be 2030-31 is when this deal expires. It's a 5-year grant of rights. It's a win. It's a win.
But clearly also trying to position yourself with everyone else's grant of rights, right? Because we know
100%.
The Big 12 is there. The ACC obviously is passed there, but there's also been, obviously that's been worked out to where schools
right.
can
The
get out of
ACC
that.
is, their grant of rights runs through 2158.
Right. A lot of cake. We get it. So the point is that you're clearly lining yourself up to go on a run here to try to, jumpstart this conference again and be in a good spot when potential realignment or a super league of sorts or whatever it might be comes down the pipe, when change in college athletics, inevitably comes again. And I think that brings me to the concept of Terresa Gould saying that CBS is the word she used was anchor partner, right?
Yes.
In this interview she did with Yogi Roth, the word she used was anchor. And, also, trying to say that CBS somehow is a transformational partner, I think is, not being too harsh. I think it's a little bit funny.
We're really looking for a transformational partner, a partner that as we launch into this new landscape of college athletics, this new model, this new framework that we're all living under, that we had a partner that would really support us and collaborate with us to build and launch this new league and really brainstorm about how we build something really special and different for the modern day student athlete and kind of what their expectations are in this new world of college athletics that we're living in.
I hate the word brainstorm there.
And to that point, I hate this concept of like, I guess I don't feel like it's that hard to understand what you need to do to be successful.
I would agree with that.
In this, this current landscape, this new landscape, and it bothers me, and it always has. And it's not personal to her, but the Pac-12 in general, she's just the person right now, has always been in this. They've always made a really big effort to try to position it as like, hey, it's this new thing we're trying to understand and trying to get our hands around. And we need a TV partner that'll support us. And it's like, well, it doesn't seem that complicated to me, though. Like, I look at it and I say, okay, well, look around college athletics. Like, she's got access to the other deals.
Yes.
Right? Like, the boilerplate verbiage that the ACC's got in their grant of rights. The boilerplate verbiage that the SEC and the Big 10 and the Big 12 has in their grant of rights. You can see what the setup of those are. So I guess I just don't feel like this is that difficult of a thing to do. I don't feel like it's that hard to go to CBS and say, this is where we are. This is what we need. This is where we're going. What are your thoughts? Like, let's not make this out like, CBS and the Pac-12 just invented fire here, dude. This is not what that is.
Well, I think Terresa Gould is a salesperson, and I think this is going to take some salesmanship. I think this is not a deal that you can hand to your fans and your athletes and be like, great deal, it's over, we won.
But if you were a salesperson, I don't disagree with that. She's a commissioner of the conference, and I do agree. Conference commissioners are salespeople. That's totally true. But so your thought was take this deal and attach Transformational to it? Yeah. I would not have said that to Yogi Roth. And I especially wouldn't have said that in an interview that clearly was going to be another softball interview.
But why do the interview at all? You need the full package put together, then do your interviews, right? Because you're not and I know why it was Yogi Roth.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to ask you, well, how much is CBS paying you? Hey, when we talk about payments and how much do you have out promised to Boise State, Oregon State, and Washington State in the new Pac-12? In the new conference agreement, what's the unequal revenue share? Yogi Roth is never going to ask that question. Hey, how much is CBS paying you? Yogi Roth is never going to ask that question. Are you paying for the production costs? And it's funny, I hear from Pac-12 fans, well, there's no such thing as the Pac-12 paying for those costs. The TV distributor will pay for those. No, they won't. The only reason that the CW was in business with Live Golf, who produced Live Golf? Live Golf did. Live Golf did. Do you guys understand? One of the main reasons they went to FS1 is because FS1 was willing to kick in equipment so that Live Golf would stop paying incredibly high fees for TV trucks and satellite time. Do you understand that was killing their CW deal? Do you understand that the Pac-12 owns all their own TV trucks? So at least they don't have to pay for that. But who do you think is paying for that satellite time? Because it's not the TV networks. It's not the CW. It is the Pac-12. So the idea that, well, the CW is just going to kick in more, they're not kicking in more. And if they were kicking in more, why have you not announced how much money you're getting this year in your TV deal? Because it's not a good number. So we can sit here and we can play the game of, hey, what if? There are no what ifs. It's only what's on the piece of paper. And they're not going to tell us what the deal with CBS. How much is CBS wiring to the Pac-12 every year? How much? Because as the commenter said a minute ago, and if you look at this dealio right here, this is not a lot of inventory for a league that needs 9 full members that play football. Is this a lot of inventory? And let's even pretend, because that top line is really interesting. 3 regular season football games. CBS Sports Network, the third line down, regular season football games. Undefined. Is that 10 games? What's the financial ramifications of having more games? What if it's 3 games? See, because it doesn't say how many games will actually be on CBS. What that's saying is there's a minimum of 3 games on CBS. Notice the plus there, right? And then you get into the Word document, right? A minimum of 3 regular season football games on CBS and Paramount Plus each season. So can we put 10 football games on Paramount Plus? How much more are you going to pay us for that? Or are you doing us a favor and making the Pac-12 just a tray on the Paramount Plus app, and you can go watch Pac-12 games there? Hard to believe. I don't think that's happening. Because if that were happening, you would have heard about it. It would be outlined in this deal.
Right.
It's the unknown that makes you nervous if you're a Pac-12 fan. I'm telling you this is a good deal. I have to believe that CAA, and this is the other thing, remember the Pac-12 is not the one going out and making these deals. They've hired CAA to go out and make these deals. And again, do we still have the video from CAA where you have a representative from CAA, and I don't think we still have the video, unfortunately, but you have the representative from CAA talking about trying to find this deal and how difficult it is.
Right.
So I just think the unknown is what we're sitting here trying to figure out. And until we have all the pieces, I'm not comfortable saying it's a bad deal because I can't believe it would be. I think this is a very good deal for them, in my opinion. Mike Smith, notice the 3+ is in a green font. I smell a conspiracy. Well, I don't know. Danny Kiger, the CW isn't kicking in more if CBS is coming in to cherry pick all the valuable content. Well, that's part of this equation. Is CBS getting the 3 best games on the schedule every year? Are they getting Oregon State, Washington State, and a third game? Because they're also getting the conference championship game. That's a very valuable piece of real estate right there. So 3+ regular season football games. Yeah. So is that 7 or is that we might air 4? It's a big difference, right? Is that every other game? No, certainly not. Is that 3 + 5 games? Okay, well, you have, how would you have it? But you have half the conferences ranked. So we've got 4 ranked teams. Well, let's throw in another game because Boise and Fresno State are both in the top 25, and that's a big game, and we have a slow week in October. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. You want to flux a game there? What about the other TV partner who was supposed to get that? In this case, Fresno State, Boise State game. It's a really tough thing to do. If you're the CW or if you're ESPN DTC and you've got Utah State and San Diego State who are both ranked in the top 15, and it's a game that could likely decide, who goes to the college football playoff. Yeah, CBS wants to air that game. Sorry, ESPN. Are you really going to take a game from ESPN to give to CBS? It's this very difficult situation. It's a very difficult thing to make these deals. I just, PAC does not have a quality hairstylist. Perhaps not. Perhaps not. Monty's still trying to simp for Gloria. Who's talked about Gloria today? Right? Like Will Carmine Compton. Who hurt you, my guy? Have you sought therapy? Like, what are you so angry about? Like, Jakey's still prison bait.
What does that even mean?
No idea what that means.
What does that mean, dude?
But it's guys like this. I feel really bad for you because you make fake accounts to say the same thing repeatedly.
Over and over and
What are you
over
doing?
again.
So 3 years later, the PAC finally has a media deal. Well, sort of. Let's see what that end result is. Right? Greg Hawkins also says, I remember melting down in this chat in 2022 over this. And it's never gotten fixed.
Nope.
We're 3 full years later. And we still don't know what the Pac-12's media deal is. And that's the other part of the announcement today. I'm a little surprised they announced it today. Is it because you just needed a win? Was this to spur maybe this is how you get Texas State finally put pen to paper, right?
Maybe.
Are you now with CBS in this signed agreement with CBS? You're able to guarantee Texas State a certain something, whether that's dollar numbers, distribution. Maybe that's what it took. Like, I don't know. I'm very interested to see how that plays out. Kevin, I don't know how many games, but it's interesting that CBS is being pushed as the primary media provider.
Yeah, the word that was used was anchor.
Anchor partner.
Anchor partner.
And it's 3 games a year. The guarantee is 3 games a year. I don't think we can go playing like, is it 4 or 5? Let's just leave it at 3 because that's the minimum, right? They have to air 3 games.
That's what they've committed to.
So if you're airing 3 games, and surprisingly, that's the same number in basketball, right? Am I the only one who was a little surprised it wasn't more basketball inventory? Though when you look at CBS has a ton of college basketball. So they probably don't have the inventory. But you look at the levels we're talking about here, 3 regular season men's basketball games on CBS. That just seems like a very small amount. A very small amount. So you just need to wait and see what the total deal is. Because I think it's a good deal. That's the only way that it can go. You can't tell me that there's not more than this. Right? There has to be, and when I say more than this, of course there's going to be more partners, but there needs to be another anchor partner.
Of course.
There has to be another, and maybe Oak State James is right. Maybe it's Fox. Maybe it's, because I can't believe it would be ESPN competing with a non-guaranteed deal, like an open-ended CBS contract. I can tell the CW to kick rocks. I'm putting that game on CBS. I can do that. I'm not telling ESPN, you can't have that Boise State UNLV game that was the conference championship last year. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, how are you going to tell your Fox Sports, you can't have the biggest game in our conference, right? Because I would think Boise State UNLV was the biggest game in the conference last year.
Yeah, everyone looked forward to it.
So if that's the example, because I don't know how good Oregon State's going to be in the next year or two, but let's say that it's Oregon State. That game's going on CBS. Oregon's in the Big Ten. That's got to be one of those 3 games, right? Has to be. I don't know how it would. Chris George. Hey, Monty and Jake, I missed a lot of time because I had to sleep during your morning times. I missed you guys. Well,
yeah,
Chris,
dude, welcome back, dude. Yeah.
Good to see you awake. And
we slept a lot too, or not as much as we wanted to.
You know, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Very much. As well, we appreciate Chris George, who is our newest member of the Monty Show. And I saw somebody saying, yes, Chris is members-only content.
Nice, dude.
How about that? Make sure you DM Jake. DM Jake,
group,
he'll
dude.
get you into the Instagram chat. Way to go. Appreciate that, Chris. Stadium Guy James, the thing that will make ESPN and or Fox attractive is you give them the right to show replays of Pac-12 games. You would never do that.
And I don't think they'd be interested in that.
Because ask yourself, if you're CBS, you're already replaying those games on CBS Sports HQ. And they're watermarked. If you're ESPN, do you want to watermark? Do you want to play games that are watermarked CBS Sports? Probably not.
No.
Because do you think they're going to strip the score bug out of that? Why would CBS do that? They're paying. I would think they're paying for that. You have to understand how these guys fit together. They don't fit together like, hey, give me your raw feed and I'll put it on my stream because I need content. They don't fit together like that. They're paying whatever sum of money, they're paying for that. And so you have to believe that they want the exclusive on it. And at that point, we're guessing, right? Let them eat cake, no longer valid as there is no cake money.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Is anyone looking for a summer job? A few drum corps are looking for non-CDL drivers and regular drivers. Okay. I like that. If anybody needs a truck driving job over the summer. Chris George, I returned after being gone for a while. Well, it's good to see you, man.
Yes, your great return.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Then welcome back, but Monty says, welcome back. Let's see. A few drum corps are looking for both CDL and non-CDL drivers. I like it. Oak State James, well, the non-football sports would be good on either ESPN or Fox. I totally agree. I think FS1 is not just a throwaway. People need to understand that Fox, mothership Fox, makes money on FS1. And they FS1, if you're going to take the Fox family of networks, as they call it, which is including Fox News, Fox News Nation, Fox News Now, like Fox Weather Nation, Fox Business, you have to take FS1. You don't have a choice. And if you don't take FS1, they will not do business with you. So if you want Fox News, so when we talk about like Fox One, Fox FS1 is not a throwaway. Fox leverages that and makes money on it. So just something to keep in mind. You get games on CBS, Paramount Plus, and CBS Sports Network. I wonder if Paramount Plus will show the games every week that the big network doesn't show. It's a great question. Because if you're, and let's say that it is Paramount Plus. Does ESPN care that Paramount Plus is streaming Utah State and whoever? I think they do. It just depends. Let's see how they fit all these together. Because CBS is kind of CBS doesn't do a lot of business with ESPN. They're rivals, frankly. There are very few network heads who don't talk. Since Sean McManus left CBS, that's kind of been the case. And CBS News has been a bit of a dumpster fire, which is the moneymaker at CBS, not CBS Sports. And CBS put a lot of money into the PGA Tour, into the NFL, and into the Big Ten. So it's difficult to believe. That's the other part of this where I'm like, I feel like there's not a lot of money behind this deal, and I want to hear what it is.
Right.
I do. Chris George says, who of the legit Pac-12 expansion options would make a better deal for TV networks? Bro, that's a great question. Memphis, no question.
No doubt about it.
But I don't think Memphis is an option all in. I think they'd be football only. But, again, Dr. Ed Scott said that he and Val Ackerman, the commissioner of the Big East, have not had conversations of substance. So, that's cool. I marched with Troop back in 2012. Hey, there you go. There you go. All right, a couple more. Then we got to roll. Zen Beeve, the Beeve of Zen.
Yeah.
That's a cool avatar, dude. I really like that. How does the Pac-12 signing with CBS impact UNLV and Mountain West mediation? It has zero impact on UNLV. UNLV has signed a long-form grant of rights. They now set themselves up. If they wanted to leave, it would be exponentially more expensive. And I think with the Mountain West mediation, I don't know that impacts it at all. It is taken much longer than anybody thought it would. I am surprised that it has not.
But isn't that the case with everything with the Pac-12? It takes way longer than you think. It's going to get done, then it never gets done. Like, come on.
I think it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But Zen, I think that's an interesting question. I don't think it impacts UNLV at all, because I think UNLV is committed as a business partner. I've heard that word a lot from people around UNLV. We're business partners with the Mountain West, and I think that's not accidental. And I just think the money's prohibitive if they were to leave. So. They paid Dominion Voting for that cake. Oof. How about that?
No comment.
At the end of July, I'm going to Charlotte with my wife for a Mary Kay convention conference. While she is in class, I will be going to North Carolina and Virginia to do videos of their stadiums. Okay.
James, I swear to God, if you come into this comment section saying that you're now a Tar Heel fan,
when?
All hell will break loose.
Well, listen, guys, I got to tell you.
Guys.
I was shooting video of the Dean Dome. And Bill and his girlfriend rolled up and asked if I was a videographer. Who am I to say no? All of a sudden, we were all naked. And I've got this tape. Anybody want to see it?
You have to check it before you wreck it.
Oak State James making his seminary instructors
just so you can go to Pound Town.
Damn.
Probably not. Okay. James said, I've already done a video of North Carolina not going to Chapel Hill. Listen, what them freaks do at night in Chapel Hill, I want no part of.
I don't want to tar their heel or anything. I don't want to have to chip into the Tar Heels cause.
He will be a Mary Kay Fighting Foundations fan. Listen, guys. I know that men don't take skincare seriously, but I got to tell you about this brand new Mary Kay Foundation. Find Mrs. Oak State James online and get your free sample.
Oh my God, just like that. Oh.
Only you, James. Happy Monday, Mr. Preston.
Excited.
Thought about you over the weekend. Mr. Preston is a huge advocate for Lexus and Toyota EVs. Me and Mrs. Monty were driving back from Vail in the old BMW.
Yeah.
And we were rolling at 157 miles an hour.
Yeah, no cop, no stop.
I got super lucky. Oh, dude, I was doing like 85 and a 65. And the cop was on the other side of the freeway, pointed the other way. And I never thought these next words would come out my mouth. Man, I've never been happier to see that Kia Rio in my rearview mirror. Because that cop, I passed him, like on the brakes, I passed him. And I saw him as I drove past in the rearview mirror. The cop put his foot on the brake because the brake lights came on. Sirens came on and he turned around. The good news was it took him a second to turn around because there was traffic and there was a Kia Rio behind me. We rolled down to 65 like we'd never passed it.
Yeah.
No cop, no stop.
Yeah. Well, Monty's.
But yeah, we were rolling at a pretty good clip with a Lexus EV. So I thought about you. It's your birthday. It is my wedding anniversary today. As well.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Mr. Preston. I did not know that. Happy birthday. Yes, indeed. Eric Wasikowski. Sounds like Shador. Hey, man.
No cop, no stop unless you're Shador.
Whoa.
And then you got stopped.
This is a family show, damn it. That's exactly right. Speaking of no cop, no stop, let's get you our prize picks of the day. Use the promo code Monty. Monty on prize picks.
Hey, Monty.
You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more in free picks. You do it today. Open a new prize picks account. Use the promo code Monty. You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more. I got to tell you, in the W, Caitlin Clark is your free pick tomorrow night, 8 o'clock at Seattle.
You gotta take it.
You got to take it.
Yeah.
It's
all the cake.
Half a point. Then if you go not in the WNBA, I've learned my lesson on that. If you go to Major League Baseball,
such as in like,
you have a full complement of Chicago Cubs baseball.
Gotta take Ben Brown and strikeouts, dude. Come on.
5 pitcher strikeouts. I would agree with that.
Gotta take that.
I like that a lot. And then total bases, Ian Happ. Ian Happ is only half a total base. He's averaging 3.5 in his last 5. So we're going demon.
Hey, demon time.
For Ian Happ.
Yeah, Happer.
All right. So my prize picks are Ben Brown, more than 5 strikeouts, probably more than 17 runs too. Ian Happ, 2.5 total bases. Caitlin Clark, 1 point tomorrow. Flex play $20 to win $120.
$20.
Cha-ching! That's what I love about it. I only have to win 2 or 3 to get paid. That's the best part about prize picks, you guys. You pick more or less. Ian Happ, 2.5 total bases. That means he hit the ball and he touched more than 2.5 total bases when he hit the ball, more or less. It is that simple. Caitlin Clark, 1 point, more or less.
More.
She's going to score more. That's a win, my friends. Hook it up. Prize Picks, the official daily fantasy partner of the Monty Show. Open a new Prize Picks account using the promo code Monty. You deposit $5. They'll give you 50 more in free plays instantly. That's what Prize Picks does. Hook it up. All right, let's switch gears real quick. Over on Hap, that's exactly right. You guys understand that 2 weeks, I think it's 2 weeks from Friday, I'll be in Chicago for the 4th of July. Hey, going to Navy Pier, everybody. We had this whole thing planned out. 4th of July night, we're going to get a couple of pizzas. We're going to be up on a rooftop. We're going to be at Navy Pier. There's going to be fireworks here and fireworks there. And then the city of Chicago said, no, there won't, because we're not doing fireworks on the 4th of July at Navy Pier. Had to change my Gibson's reservation.
Why did you have to change the Gibson's reservation?
Because the fireworks at Navy Pier are July 5th.
Damn, really?
Yes, they're not changing.
Why are they the 5th?
Because it's every Tuesday, I believe, and Saturday. And the 4th of July, I believe, is on a Friday this year. So Saturday the 5th.
Whatever.
So now, 4th of July night, pimps are going to pimp at Gibson's Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go back, make new babies. And then the 5th of July, we're going to watch the Cubs game.
Yeah.
You got to get stroked.
It's Monday. I've been off for 4 days. I have a
Honestly,
lot of
I'd start
energy.
stroking guys.
I would too. I have a lot of energy. And you should just deal with it. But yes, over on Hap. Joseph Harper. Cubbies lost the battle of a wind ball to my Mariners. Dude, can we get anybody out?
No.
Can we get anybody out? Phil Venzer, I'll be in San Diego in 2 weeks, and Coyote Cafe, my first stop. My man.
Dude. Yes.
Phil, you will not regret that decision. You will not. The breakfast at Coyote Cafe, I think, is some of the best in the West. I love it.
Sensational.
The handmade tortillas, like, oh my God. Joey Zay. Mountain West screwed now? No. Again, why are we
gotta go back earlier in the show, dude? We talked about it for so long, dude.
Yeah. Jeremiah Champion. Hey, that's my wedding, July 5th. Go get it, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Happy for you. Excited to hear about it. The bullpen in San Diego is the best.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
clearly know how to hit guys.
Yeah, we got to stop talking about food. I'm starving. Yeah, I'm looking forward to dinner too. Eric Wasikowski, Pirate players are a bunch of cowards throwing hands at fans. Pittsburgh is a disaster, and it's going to cost you Paul Skeens.
Yep.
And if you wind up without Paul Skeens, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say to the people who what?
Bro, if Oak Steak James sending me a picture of Western Carolina Stadium, I can't even see what's happening in this picture because it's so digitized.
Western Carolina.
Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
The Western, I don't even know what they're called. The Western Carolina.
They're not the Rider.
Butt huggers. Like, I don't even know what they're called. But it is what it is. Chris George, I'm a Pirates fan and I'm embarrassed, bro. If you guys lose Paul Skeens, I am telling you now, if you lose Paul Skeens, it is the worst thing that has happened to Pittsburgh sports. And I don't know how. It's Ben Roethlisberger on a motorcycle, but he got killed instead of injured. It's Ben Roethlisberger in a bar. He got convicted instead of paying people off. Like, nothing? Okay. It's the worst thing in the world. It would be worse than the Western Carolina pause the catamount. Like the Western Carolina Catamounts have nothing on Paul Skeens' list. You guys watch that situation in Pittsburgh if they lose Paul Skeens at the deadline. Because there's a lot of people who think Paul Skeens is telling the Pirates he wants out right now.
Yeah.
And if that's true, that's the worst thing that's ever happened.
It's empty.
Ever. And golf at Saquon. Yeah. Good casino too. Chocolate starfish. Whatever makes you happy. That's your flavor.
Hugh Janus.
Our owner can't wait to get rid of Skeens. Believe that. I agree with you.
Agreed.
And it's absolutely brutal.
It's despicable, dude.
It would be akin to going to buckedup.com and not getting 40% off site-wide just today only.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a terrible decision.
Using the promo code Monty. I'm telling you, I love their supplements. I'll continue to pound this point the rest of the show. If you are not taking creatine and collagen every day, and if you are not using Bucked Up pre-workout, their hydration products, their protein products, I'm telling you, they're the best. They have low stim for people who, a lot of pre-workout users get what's called palpitations, like where your heart races. They have low stim and no stim so that you get that same push to start your workout, but without the palpitations or without the energy or the stimulants. Absolutely. It's all 40% off right now. You can get tubs of creatine for $16 at buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty right here. Monty.
MONTY, not MONNY. It's two different
Monty
things.
At checkout, buckedup.com. You can also get their energy drink. They have these great flavored creatine drinks now. They're actually really good. You name it, they've got it. Buckedup.com, 40% off site-wide today only when you use the promo code Monty. Did the NBA get screwed? The Oklahoma City Thunder won the NBA championship. But as Two Holes and I were watching that game, it was very clear that the Haliburton was about to rain fire down on Oklahoma City. Probably too much. It was very clear that the Pacers were controlling that game early anyway. Haliburton goes down after what could only be called a snapping of a rubber band.
Ugh.
And you got to ask yourself, is the number 0 cursed? Jake is convinced that the number 0 is now cursed because Tatum, Haliburton, and Old Man all tore their Achilles tendon wearing the 0
in this playoffs. It's kind of crazy.
And you believe you're buying into that?
Yeah, I think it's a crazy coincidence. I mean, it's a jersey number, but I do think it's a crazy coincidence.
I think if Haliburton stays healthy, they probably win that game. And they probably win an NBA championship. And he's probably, him or Siakam would have been the NBA Finals MVP.
Right. And I think the NBA needs to study this, dude. The NBA needs to figure out, do we have a longevity problem in this league with the younger generation? Because, again, there's no doubting. And flowers where flowers are due. Game 7, 16 million views. Great job. Awesome. But
how did Haliburton do? Did he win the championship?
No, he
for them?
blew up his Achilles and had to leave the game.
But did he win the championship for Indiana? right? Because you said he's a superstar and he was going to win championships. That didn't work. Here are the numbers, you guys. Look at these numbers. 16.35 million average viewer. Peaked at 19.28. I mean, it's up 10% year over year. It's one of the highest watched NBA playoff games ever. Does that validate small markets? Like, what do you think?
I don't think it validates it. I think what it does is it says that Game 7 is relevant to people. That Game 7 of anything is worth watching. A win or go home is worth watching,
unless the Oilers are playing in the Stanley Cup
right?
Finals.
And then they're just going to gift wrap it and pull their goalie, and you can just put in like 80 goals on them, which is fine. But anyway, the point is that yeah, I mean, it was a decent game. The TJ McConnell experience was fun. You know, didn't get him anywhere, but it was fun to watch. And you know, I just feel bad. Like you know, say what you want about Haliburton, star, not star, whatever. The guy busted his ass for his team in the playoffs.
Yep.
And knew that he was at risk of tearing his Achilles and did just that. And I think it's really tough. It's really unfortunate. That Game 7 deserved a healthy squad on both sides, and it just didn't get it, unfortunately. And I think, you know, the NBA, I do believe I agree with the people saying, hey, the NBA needs to figure out, is this a product of, you know, not enough rest in the playoffs? Is this a product, like, why do these Achilles things keep popping up, these injuries, these devastating, writhing in pain on the floor, like slamming your hand on the floor? Like, it's a nasty injury, man. And I said it as soon as I saw it. That's it.
Well, I think everybody knew it.
And I think it's brutal, man. It's absolutely brutal.
I don't know. I think that the Pacers, are the Pacers a tragedy?
No, that's strong.
Would they have won the game if Haliburton hadn't choked on his Achilles tendon after it snapped and recoiled into his larynx? I watched too much ER. They probably do win that game. But I'm going to show this picture anyways, just because I hate him.
Which I don't understand.
Because he plays for the Pacers and I'm a Bulls fan. Figure it out. I think they win the finals if he stays healthy. I think they'd have won Game 7. I think it is just absolutely horrendous watching that. Did you guys see it? If you haven't seen it, don't go watch. It's gross, dude. It quite literally looks like a rubber band is being snapped. And you know that wave of when you get hit in a fleshy part of your body?
Yeah.
And there's a ripple. Oh, and it's so painful. You immediately have no control of your foot.
Yeah.
And it's the worst thing in the world. And it just sucks to see him do that.
Totally.
But I think it was great for the NBA that there was a Game 7. I think they needed it. There's no doubt. It validates Game 7s. I agree with that. I totally agree. Oak State James, I think 82 games in a season is too long. I'm going to read the rest of your comment. Probably not. But I think that's a really good thing. Don't we all bitch and moan about load management, though?
Yep.
So if 82 games is too much, you don't think they're going to play less than 82? Because that'll never happen.
No. I you know what I think?
You have to allow them to manage their loads.
You do. Yeah. Load management is a big, big deal in this sport now.
I said manage their
Macaque.
Thank you. At least give me that. You know,
Hiscock.
They're not going to play less than 82 games.
What it does is it highlights the need for better depth. That's what it does. You cannot play style, and it's a testament to Bron, and I'll keep bringing this up. It's a testament to Steph. Never had the major career-ending, potentially injury. But, you know, you have to have good depth on your roster. You can't just ride your starters for 38 minutes a night and think that there's not going to be penalties for that. And you know, we all talk about, oh, well, you know, he knew the risk. Yes, he did. What did you expect him to do? Not play and wonder if what would have happened? Of course he's going to play in those games knowing the risk. But I do think that the conversation, you look at Tatum, you look at Dame, both of those guys, same story.
But
so
why?
Tight, calf hurts.
Wait. Why has this not been an issue previously? And I'm not going to read the rest of your comment because it's completely wrong. It's not the running. Why are we tearing more Achilles tendons? Because we're shooting more 3-pointers. Is it the
You really think that's part of it?
What did Tyrese Haliburton do? He pump faked because he had a defender leaning towards him because he shoots the 3. And if you look at, like, Kevin Durant was on the sideline, but you look at Dame, you look at Kobe, you look at these guys who pump fake, and then that snapping of the Achilles tendon. And it's funny, in the last interview I ever did with Kobe talking about this, Kobe likened his Achilles tendon to a something that it was when it snapped, it was no longer flexible. He had a calf strain. And it's when you put the ball of your foot on the floor to explode that Achilles tendon snaps because the calf is not flexible. So if you think about all the running they do, the running's not the issue. It's 2 things. Guys like Kobe, who in their later years shot the 3 ball better. But what was Kobe? Kobe was a high flyer. He put a lot of pounding on his ankles and knees, right? You only have so many, because when you land, everything compresses, right?
Yeah.
Well, what happens when something compresses like that? It's going to expand. It's going to go back to its normal shape. You only have so many times where you can expand and contract your calf and your Achilles. And when you have a calf strain, and for those of you who don't know, what a calf strain is an actual hole in your calf muscle. A strain, you know how that's a grade 1, a grade 2. It's just how many layers tore and how big the tear is. That's what the grades are. And so when you have a calf strain, you have a minor tear. Well, what happens, not to be all Dr. Monty on you, what happens when you tear a muscle? Your body immediately sends blood into that muscle and it immediately begins repairing it. And all that does is it puts acid and dirty and all kinds of fluid go in there, white blood cells. It just puts, it's like, hey, I tore my muscle. Let me pack a bunch of mud in there. So the muscle can't work normally. So you strained your muscle in what? Your calf muscle in game 4?
Yeah.
Or whenever
like
that was?
Yeah.
He
and
strains the muscle.
And could clearly see his leg wasn't working right.
Strains the muscle and then just rehabs it, right? Gets therapy, stim. They use these big metal rods that they roll and push, and so the calf is not flexible anymore.
Kept him out of a game, rehabbed him, put him in a game.
Calf's not flexible. So now when you go to push off that calf and that calf is rock hard.
Stay hard.
Anyway, the calf is rock hard. There's no contraction. So now the Achilles tendon wants to go.
Yeah.
So it's not the running. It's the 82 games and the 3-point shooting and the fact that we're moving our bodies in ways that we're not training. We're not training the pump fake explode. That's a mechanical move, but we don't train our calves and our Achilles tendon for that.
Yeah.
That's the issue because you can't tape that. This is the other thing I saw on ESPN this morning from Stupid A. Smith, I think it was, who was like, oh, well, I want to know. And I love these guys who are like, was he spatting his ankles? Hey, Dr. Welby, stick to being president. Let me explain something to you. Spatting your ankle is not going to prevent an Achilles tear because that's all internal. Okay, that came out wrong. My point is, that's all inside the leg.
Yeah.
Spatting the ankle is so that it doesn't roll and it tightens up the lateral movement. So anyway, there endeth the lesson. This generation is weak. They only play one sport in high school, which limits them. And who's the perfect example of this? Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson has done one thing better than everybody else his entire life. Jump up and land. He has been that guy his entire, from the time he was in 3rd grade. Zion Williamson could always jump higher with more power than everybody else. Can he still do that? Well, yeah, he can. But what happens when you go up against older adult men who are your size and your strength, and what happens? You get hurt because now he's landing in ways he's never landed. I think that's an excellent point. Excellent point. Keaton Critchlow. Hoping all these guys come back 100% after an Achilles rupture. Ruptured mine 2 years ago and still haven't gotten my full speed or jump back.
Well, Dame's the most risky one. Dame's the oldest one, clearly.
It's so difficult when you're laymen like us, when you're just normal dudes. We had dinner at an Italian place in Eagle, Colorado the other night. And this dude is like walking around with a knee replacement. I think he said he was 8 weeks ago or something like that. And I was like, well, how long does it take you to get on your feet? He's like 2 days later, I was walking around the hospital. Can you imagine an Achilles? I think I would rather have a knee replacement than an Achilles.
Think about
rupture.
the golf instructor.
Oh, yeah. Bruce Summerhays, one of our local instructors, tore his Achilles. And what was he doing? Playing basketball. But it's not easy, Keaton. It's not easy. That's one of the thickest muscles in your body, and it is so difficult to repair that. And it is every day. If you go watch the Kobe documentary and you watch the way he had to rehab that Achilles, every day, 2 times a day at a minimum. And what's the biggest thing he was doing? He wasn't lifting weight. He was stretching and being stretched.
Yeah.
And it is I can tell you, it is so painful to rehab an Achilles. I know football players who did it. I don't know anybody who's torn an Achilles that wouldn't rather break a bone. Because it just doesn't hurt as much to break a bone as it does to tear that thing.
Okay.
And
yeah.
the surgery, go get on YouTube or Google and search Achilles tendon repair surgery. It is the craziest looking thing, man. It is wild. Katie and Thomas who? Injured Achilles. It was bad to watch. Thompson.
Klay Thompson.
Oh, Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. Klay. Oh, Klay's another one. But what do these guys have in common? A lot of these guys have a knee injury, and then they'll rehab the knee.
Yeah.
And what almost always happens?
Achilles. Always.
When you have guys at this level, and it doesn't happen much anymore because I just think medicine has gotten so much better. You have a guy that will injure a knee, and it used to always be calf, thigh, hamstring, constant hamstring pulls on guys who had their knees done. Because all you're doing is leaning on, let's say you do your left knee. You're all on your right side for how many months, right? And you're rehabbing the left side. So the rehab has gotten the left side's gotten way stronger now because you're focused on rebuilding the calf and all that. The right side goes out. And nowadays, I just think you look at Kevin Durant, or you look at Kevin Durant broke his foot, then that leads to, it's brutal. It is brutal, man. And I don't wish it on anybody. I really do not. Speaking of Kevin Durant, where do you guys come down on Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets? Because I know you're passionate about this deal. I think it's a phenomenal trade for the Rockets and for Kevin Durant, but you don't agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that value-wise, it's proper. You know, the KD for what they got in return, it's a fine deal in that sense. But what I don't like about this deal is more for KD's legacy and how people will remember him. I think that this next season to 2 seasons with Houston will be how people remember him. Of course, people will remember the Golden State championship, but they remember it for the wrong reasons, right? Everybody says, oh, well, he was ring chasing. You know, that was Steph's title. KD just went in as the number 2 to help Steph win. And that's, you know, it wasn't a legitimate title from that standpoint. But I disagree with that. I think Kevin Durant was the main reason they won that championship, and him and Steph together were a perfect combination. And so I don't discount KD for that. But for the vocal, you know, KD hater, they're going to say, well, hey, it wasn't your title in Golden State. You know, you go to Brooklyn, that didn't work out. You've gone to Phoenix, that didn't work out. And now you're going to Houston, and you're supposed to be the guy that's going to carry them, right? Obviously, you have to go in there and have a hell of a year and help them and push them forward. And obviously, you would expect them to at least make it to the Western semis with Kevin Durant on your roster as the guy. So if you don't even, let's say that they don't even make the playoffs, which would be highly unusual, but we said that about the Suns too. Let's say you don't even go to the playoffs. It's yet another disaster for Kevin Durant. Let's say you are 1 and done in the playoffs. Another disaster for Kevin Durant, because the Rockets were already going to be a 1 and done. That's not anything new. So I think at a minimum, for this to be a good deal for Kevin Durant, they would have to go to the Western semis, and ideally you would go to the Western finals at a minimum for this to be a good deal for Kevin Durant's legacy. And that, for me, is why I don't love this for Kevin Durant, because the bar is high. It used to be, if you go to a new team and you make the playoffs, that's a good deal, right? You help the new team get to where they need to go. All right, cool. But that's not the case anymore. This is a guy that's trying to win a championship, and you chose Houston to try to do that. And by the way, I'd also point out, the Knicks didn't want you. Boston apparently didn't want you bad enough, and you didn't want to go to Miami at the end of the day, so you chose Houston. That's what I don't
know that he chose.
He isn't going to Houston if he says, I don't want to play there. You're not going to get me to buy that.
Right, but I think Ime Udoka is a big part of why Kevin went to Houston. I think he's inarguably one of the best young coaches in the NBA. I think when we start looking at this deal, right, and you start understanding, hey, this is a trade where you feel like Houston got a lot of value out of this, in my opinion. I am also not a guy that believes Jalen Green is somehow the end of the world. Dylan Brooks is a POS, in my opinion. The number 10 pick instantly helps the Suns rebuild. But 5 second-round picks, is anybody excited about that? 5 second-round picks? I don't think those are difference-making picks. This was a Kevin Durant for Jalen Green and the number 10 pick. That's what this was. You threw in everything else to make the money work. I think the Houston Rockets won this trade running away, and the Athletic agrees with me. I think this sets the Rockets up now to be in a position where they can win an NBA championship in the next 2 years.
Yeah, but see, that's where I'm not confident in that, dude. How can we say that? How can you reasonably say that you expect Kevin Durant to help this team get to the finals?
Because I think he is an absolute scoring machine. Defensively, he's okay. He's not terrible. I think when you start looking at the way that this team is constructed, Fred Van Vliet's a dog. That's a guy you want on your team in a close game. And I start saying to myself, how does Kevin Durant and Alperen Sengun fit together?
Mm-hmm.
I think that they fit together exceptionally well in the pick and roll. I think you start looking at somebody like a Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith's got to make more 3-point shots in the corner now. He has to do that. I start looking at Amin Thompson. I start looking at they have role players. I really like the way that team is put together. And now they've got the number 10 pick, but they've got to make another trade. And so my question is, are you willing to sacrifice in a Sengun to go and get somebody else? I think that's a legitimate question that has to be asked, because as they're constructed now, I don't believe that this makes them, singularly this deal, I don't believe makes them a championship contender. I think the next deal is what puts the Rockets over the top, because Ime Udoka, I think, has proven himself to be a terrible womanizer and an amazing head coach.
Agreed completely. I think he proved himself on the floor in Boston. There's no doubt about it.
I think his off-court issues
in Houston.
Yeah, I think his off-court issues made a huge deal. But I also think you start looking at the fact that Houston was number 2 in the West at 52-30, and that is an unbelievable deal.
Yeah.
And
I guess I'm not. Listen, I'm a Kevin Durant
said Houston
guy.
was 52-30.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good year.
Let that sink in.
Yeah, 50 plus wins is a great year for them.
Yeah.
I am a Kevin Durant guy, have been for years. Love the guy. But there's no getting away from, we've heard this story before. You've been traded for more in the past, and you let that team down multiple times.
I don't disagree at all.
So I'm not saying you're wrong about this at all. I agree. Houston's won this deal. This is a good deal for Houston. Sets you up in the now and into the future. I agree. The next trade is going to be super consequential, but I will believe it with Kevin at this stage in his career when I see it. He can score. I don't doubt his game. That's not the issue. The issue is him being a part of a team that wins at a really high level. Is Kevin Durant capable of being on a team that has no other Hall of Famers on it and winning 60 games?
Yes.
Well, we'll see. He hasn't done that yet.
I think Fred Van Vliet's an NBA champion who understands the game. He is a dog. I'm telling you right now, that's a great combination. You have to make another trade. This is what I say about the Phoenix Suns. I think Devin Booker and Jalen Green, incredibly good fit together. You've got to trade Bradley Beal because you're $100 million under the cap.
Yeah, and then you got to get a point guard.
Underwater, rather.
You're the wrong way right now.
You're the wrong way. And I think you're right. They don't have a point guard, but they've also got Jalen and Book who can bring the ball up for you. This Suns roster, if it truly sits the way it is, this is a 35-40 win team because you have no balance. They're going to trade Bradley Beal. And I look at Grayson Allen, and I think that those three might not be a playoff team. With Jalen, Devin Booker, and Grayson Allen, you might not be a playoff team. But if you can do something with that number 10 pick, and if you can turn those second-round picks and Bradley Beal into something of a contributor, I don't think the fall is as far as it was before you made this Kevin Durant trade, and I actually think it's a really good trade for the Suns. So I think it's a really, really good trade for Houston. So that's what I would say you got to do. Fight on Natties. I agree. I'm a terrible YouTube streamer. Please hit the like button. We have 63 likes, and we have had 2,700 views and over 1,000 comments. Please hit the like button. It helps the channel grow. Joseph Harper, Katie has only got about 2-3 years left, so Houston better get their act together quickly.
2-3 years left at this level. I think he could potentially play a lot longer than that.
They need another something. They're one guy away. And the question is, do you trade Sengun? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. What are they willing to give up? I mean, they just don't. I don't think they're hard cap, but they don't have a lot of flexibility. I think moving on from Jalen Green was a really cathartic thing for that franchise because he's been that guy for a long time. But I mean, their dogs right now are Durant, Van Vliet, Sengun, and Jabari Smith, and Amin Thompson's that glue guy. You've got to go now and add some guys who can Cam Whitmore become something more than what he's been? And does Kevin Durant make him that? He's 21 years old. Like, who's the guy on this roster that you're not thinking about that can become something?
I mean, Whitmore's got the talent, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could develop him into something. But I think that, again, that's where the philosophy of the organization comes in. And I like where their head's at. I agree. Udoka definitely can develop guys. There's no question about that. He's proven that. Boston's, obviously bored out the fruit of that labor he put in. So, again, I think you have a developmental coach. No question about it. Somebody who can teach these guys. But it can't be KD and everybody else. That cannot be the offense you run. That does not work. It's been proven over and over and over again, dude.
I'll say, and you might remember this or not, I think bruised my vocal cords slurping Amin Thompson before the draft.
Yeah.
He can't shoot 25% from three. You just stop shooting threes. You're hurting your team more than you're helping your team. Can you get him to 30, 32%? Now, that might not seem like a big jump, but do you understand how many more threes you make when you make 7% more over a season? That means he's a 20-point-a-night guy. He's a 15-point-a-night guy now. He's plus 20 points if he just shoots an average percentage. Now you get him into 33, 34, 35%, forget about it. Now you're talking about elite kings of the NBA. And he's got that ability, but somebody's going to have to replace what Dylan Brooks brought to that team in toughness. Because a lot of people made a big deal about what Jalen Green did for that team. Jalen Green didn't do anything in their postseason games.
Yeah.
He took a huge backslide in the postseason, but he was 21 points a night in the regular season. And you look at the way those points were scored. Amin Thompson shot scored 14 points a night, and shot again middle high 20s from three. He's got to make 34, 35% threes and scored 22, 23 points a night. Because Kevin Durant is going to give you 30 a night on a lot of nights. He's still that guy. But can Jabari Smith, who averaged 12 points a game, 12 points a game. And you know what the problem with that is? He shot 35% from three. So how do you get more non-3-point production from Jabari Smith? How do you get more 3-point production from Amin Thompson and fit Fred VanVleet and Kevin Durant into that? Those are the questions now.
Yep.
Because that, or you got to make a significant trade. And I think Sengun's really the guy that's got value on that roster. Because are you really going to trade in Amin Thompson? I'm not.
No.
He's a Swiss Army knife.
It's too good.
I'm not doing that. So I start looking at the other guys on this roster. Cam Whitmore is expendable. Only played 15 games, gave you 16 minutes a night. The guy's a role player, but he's 21 years old.
Yeah, too early to tell, maybe.
Well, I think you know who he is. The question is, do you believe he's got an upside? Right? So there's all these questions around it. I like that trade a lot. I'm a huge fan of that trade. I'm a believer in that trade. I think it's huge. Jay Brandon, do the Rockets win a championship with KD? They're in position to do that. They've got to go and make more deals now. At least another deal. The question is, who's taking Bradley Beal? That's the question in this trade, right? Because you didn't make the Kevin Durant trade to hang on to Bradley Beal.
No.
You did.
And I think there's a chance nobody takes him and they buy him out. I mean, that's a possibility.
Rafael Rodriguez says, thank you for making my day.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I don't know what we did, but, you know. I looked at the roster, and I just remembered that Steven Adams and KD played together in OKC. It'll help that they are used to each other. I think Steven Adams, we were talking about this the other day. Steven Adams was brought in he's Jack Haley on Jordan's Bulls.
Yeah, he's there for leadership,
mentoring.
Yeah.
My Lakers are going to sign Miles Turner. He's a free agent. You heard it here first, folks. Well, they're hard capped. So how are you going to do that? The Lakers are a really fascinating conversation because their owner has as much money as God and can't do anything with it because they're hard capped. So they're going to have to find a way, because you start looking at what their roster, their cap looks like 20, 25, 26. LeBron's 52 million. Okay. Luka's 46 million. And there are some pretty loud voices in LA that aren't sure that Luka's the guy. So, but he does it. He actually looks like he hit the pen pretty hard. Right? Did you guys hear about, we got to, in about 10 minutes, we're going to talk about wagovianforhims.com. Because did you guys see what's going on there? But I think you have really solid role players in LA. Do you have a number 2 for LeBron? Not at $47 million, you don't. You don't. Austin Reeves is your second best player. Fight me. Tell me I'm wrong. Because I'm telling you can't.
Yeah.
Because
it's tough.
Shaboy over here knows the Lakers. I know it's uncouth in the state of Utah to say you're a Laker fan. I'm not a fan. I am a casual observer. And I think it's very interesting. Ooh, wow. There's one guy off the market for the Lakers because the Lakers wanted or were interested in one point at Daniel Gafford, who just signed a 3-year extension with the Mavs.
What of Anthony Davis?
Yeah. What of Anthony Davis? Complimentary players, because that tells me Anthony Davis isn't going to be on the block anymore. So we'll see. But if you think about the numbers for Luka in the regular season, because Luka his production went up in the postseason. In 28 games, Luka averaged 28 points a game. Oh my God, Monty, second option. Okay, well, let's really look at right before you
stay hard
and stuff. Luka shot 43% from the floor on 38% from 3, you guys. You understand he shot 38% from 3 on 10 3-pointers a game. That means he made 3.5 3-pointers out of 10. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good at all. That's bad efficiency. And the worst part is he's a 79% free throw shooter. So are you turning into Russell Westbrook or Russell Brickbrook?
Right.
Like Westbrook?
Yes.
Like
Russell Westbrook.
What happened that you're you're making 5 out of 10 2-pointers. That's not good for a scorer. 50% from 2 is not good.
Right. Look at SGA.
It's not good, right? 49.3% from 2. That's not good. And so you start looking at some of the numbers. Can Rob Pelinka make a move to fix that? Because at some point, this team has to score at the rim consistently. How long have we been looking for somebody to drive and kick with LeBron? Well, you got it, and he ain't making it. So J.J. Redick's job is done, because I think what J.J. Redick did was nothing short of spectacular last year. I think the systems he ran, the offensive schemes he put in place, the offensive philosophy, I thought it was fantastic. I just don't know, and this is my opinion again, I don't know that Luka's the guy that you want to build this franchise around going forward. But you know what? Fight on. Yes, that's right. He is the franchise from here on out. And it's terrifying to me. Terrifying. Trouble with the Lakers, trouble with Luka, he gives you 28 a game, but gives up 29 on defense. No, he gives up like 59 on defense.
Doesn't want to play defense.
It's a problem.
He's out of shape.
Oak State James, the Lakers need their stars to be willing to take a cut and pay. Nobody takes a cut and pay in the NBA. The contracts are guaranteed. So they can get a third star. You don't need a third star. I think, what did we see in Indiana? Because Indiana's a really good example of this. How many stars did Indiana have?
You're going to say 0.
They had 0. They had a really good Haliburton, but who was their best player in the postseason?
Siakam.
So do you really need 3 stars? You don't. Look at OKC. How many stars do they have? 1. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. How many role players do they have? 11. Because they got it from a different guy every night. Who was the best player outside of SGA last night? Yeah. Go ahead, say it. Alex Caruso, the 2-time NBA champion.
Headband Caruso.
Right? So when we sit here and we talk about how you build championship teams, James, with all due respect, it's not 3 stars in any way, shape, or form. What you need is 2 stars. Fred VanVleet, Kevin Durant. And then you need to go and plug in guys who do jobs. Austin Reeves. You've got all the dudes you need. Rui Hachimura, defense and rebounding. Occasionally he's going to knock down that corner 3. Right? So what do the Lakers need? They need Walker Kessler, who they've talked to the Jazz about repeatedly. If you put Walker Kessler on that team, now we're having a different story. Because is there anybody better at long rebounds? Not at the rim, battling who's the best long rebounder in the NBA? Well, it might damn well be Walker Kessler. And what is Walker Kessler number 1 in the NBA at? Run from the front of that rim to the front of that rim. And to that rim, that dude is a rim runner and a great long rebounder. And if they have that in LA, forget it. They're winning the Western Conference.
Yeah. And what did the Daniel Gafford contract just do for good old Walker Kessler?
Got him paid.
Just saying.
Got him paid. You guys know the
not
money.
Not by the Jazz.
No, not by the Jazz, who don't pay guys. Do you guys, and we haven't, I'd like to point that out as well. You have to, at some point, understand trade season hasn't even started yet. The shocking part of the Kevin Durant trade is it was made in June, not August. That's the shocking part of it. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this Gafford trade plays out, or this Gafford payday plays out in the trade market. Because if you trade for Walker Kessler, I agree, you got to pay him.
Yep.
He got a 3-year extension for $60 million. That means, I know mathing is hard, he's making $20 million a year to be a backup center. He's a number 2 center there, and he's probably going to play power forward.
Right.
I would assume. You look at the money that Walker Kessler's making, he's making $4.8 million.
Yeah, dude needs to get paid.
He's on his first contract. He's going to get paid. And you start looking at his options. He's got the club option that they picked up last year and this year. Do you think they're going to let him go to restricted free agency? I don't think that's happening. Did we learn nothing from the Stayward conversation?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't trust the Jazz to pay anyone, dude. I don't trust them to do things normally. I don't trust them to make the logical decision, and I certainly don't trust them to build a championship caliber team. So,
yeah,
I'm not putting anything past them.
Luka is the franchise. I agree. David R. Oregon State lost to every Mountain West school they played that is staying in the Mountain West Conference. They would be bottom feeders in the Mountain West. No, they wouldn't.
I'm glad you're a hater, dude.
What makes Due better than Mbappe is defense, dude. Mbappe should have gone to the Premier League.
Yeah, but why didn't he?
Because it's
French.
too hard. It's too hard.
Stay hard.
It's too difficult to play in the Premier League. And don't get me started on Mbappe. I'll say that Mbappe, Messi, what makes Ronaldo better than Messi? Ronaldo did it in every single league. No matter where you put him. Neymar's another one. Neymar should have gone. But when you're talking about,
But didn't.
And he was nothing at PSG. Where's Neymar now? You don't care either. I look at Ronaldo. He had the balls to go and do it in every league, in every country, and he's still scoring international goals. I look at Lionel Messi, and I think the guy is a wonderful player. I think he's been amazing in MLS. How come you never went to Europe? Why did you never go to the English Premier League? Why didn't you go
and conquer the best football in the world?
Because he didn't want to be physical. And the Premier League is incredibly physical. It's why a lot of Germans struggle to come over to the Premier League and play at the top level that we saw in Germany and England, because it's just really physical. And the officiating wants it that way, so they call it that way. And what did Ronaldo always have? He always had that vertical. He always had the ability to score at every level. And I'm just telling you, it is going to be really incredible to see who's the next major star of the Premier League. Now that the Liverpool era seems to be coming to an end.
Right.
And again, they just won again. Totally get it. Who's going to be the next major star in England? And who's going to develop that player? I would love to tell you it's Cole Palmer at Chelsea. He's got the number 10 now. I don't think it is. Messi just beat Porto in Miami. Mrs. Monty and I were watching that.
Again, that's not some badge of honor. That's cool, dude.
And Club World Cup. Chelsea forgot to show up to their last match, but fine. Lionel Messi can only play the people in front of him, but he chose the weak route. He chose the weakest, easiest route. He went to MLS. He should have gone from Barcelona, and I understand Barcelona and what that is and who he was. Totally get it. Should have gone from Barcelona to England, back to Barcelona, and then home. Now, he's probably going to see $1 billion in earnings from MLS, and he's earned it. But,
quick little drama happening on Twitter right now with the Daniel Gafford contract.
Oh,
so Shams was first to report that he got $60 million in this extension. Mark Stein is reporting that it's only $54 million, so sub 20 a year, according to Mark Stein.
That's interesting.
Which is meaningful when you start to think about other players. Huge. And what's what.
$6 million a year for Dallas. You think that's huge on their cap?
Yeah,
I'd say that's huge on their cap. No doubt about it. I don't think there's any question. And there's no question you need to get to buckedup.com. Today, only 40% off site-wide when you use the promo code Monty. M-O-N-T-Y, Monty, site-wide, buckedup.com. You guys, the creatine thing, and let's get into non-sports here, because real quick while I'm telling you about Bucked Up, Google search Wegovy for him. Just go Google search it. It is shocking. Leave the Wegovy and the For Hims alone. Get healthy. Use legitimate, well-engineered, trusted supplements like Bucked Up Creatine, Bucked Up Collagen. I have 2 scoops of each every single day. You guys know I put them in my oats. But if it's pre-workout, if it's proteins, if it's fat burners, if it's collagens, certainly creatine, you guys. They have so many great product lines. Everything that you need, highly scientific, highly engineered with ingredients you can believe in. Get it all. If you've ever wanted to try a new supplement, buckedup.com, 2-day only, site-wide, everything on their site. Energy drinks, creatine flavored energy drinks, they have it all. And it's 40% off when you use the promo code Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, Monty. All right. Are you guys on board with Wegovy? Are you somebody that will take the pen? Are you Luka Doncic? Are you somebody that will take the pen? I think if you're new to this show, you don't know this. If you've watched this show for any amount of time, you do know. I am a huge no Wegovy guy. Had the opportunity, I guess 3 years ago now at my physical.
Did.
Time flies so fast. Several years ago, I get a physical every August. Several years ago, my doctor said, hey, fat ass, you need to lose weight. It's like, okay, cool. He's like, hey, there's this emerging category, semaglutides, Ozempic and Wegovy. Wegovy's affordable, $1,500 a month. But it's a shot. It's the easy button. Yeah, but once you get on it, you really can never get off of it. And if when you're on it, you're Aaron Rodgers on ayahuasca because you're crapping yourself constantly.
Yeah.
But you're not hungry and you're going to lose a bunch of weight. Okay, cool. No, thanks. I'm good. I said, I'm going to X, Y, and Z. Since then, Mrs. Monty and I have really trimmed our nutrition. We eat really well. I've gotten into, again, creatine, collagen, all of the supplements, all the vegetables. Great. I've lost weight. Then this story comes out today about Wegovy dropping for him. And it's a pretty incredible story, and the reason why the manufacturer of Wegovy is dropped for him.
Yeah, I think so. They have this agreement, right, where the parent company of For Hims and Hers was in an agreement, a partnership to only sell Wegovy.
Novo Nordisk is the manufacturer.
So Novo Nordisk and Hims and Hers had an agreement that Hims and Hers would only sell their product. They would not sell knockoff brands. They would not sell
is illegal.
Because it's illegal. They would not do that.
But it used to be when Wegovy first came out several years ago, you could make, because there was no patent on it. Right. And the patent had been open. So you could compound your own version of Wegovy. But people were getting really sick on it. It has tremendous side effects when not done right.
Yeah.
For Hims was somebody where you can go get
Stay hard
ED pills. You can go get all kinds of things. They were offering a weight loss Wegovy type drug that you could take, or concoction. That became illegal. You were no longer allowed to do that. So very smartly, For Hims partnered with Novo Nordisk and they were going to sell Wegovy exclusively. Well, now today we find out that Novo Nordisk dropped For Hims because they started making their own compounds, allegedly started making their own compounds again.
Yeah, and that's essentially what Novo Nordisk said. We expected that the efforts towards compounding personalization would diminish over time. When we didn't see that, we had to make a choice on behalf of patients. We've been firm all along that patient safety is our primary focus. Our expectation was that Hims and Hers business focus would transfer towards real, safe, approved medications. And so basically they're saying, hey, when they didn't take that change of course towards going towards legal, up to par medication, as they call it, we had to part ways with them. To which, of course, Andrew Dudum, CEO of Hims and Hers, said that they're disappointed to see Novo Nordisk management misleading the public, and that, there was increasingly pressured us to control clinical standards and steer patients towards Wegovy, regardless of whether it was clinically best for our patients. So they're doing this whole cat and mouse game that we see all the time, and it just goes to show that the Wegovy works, dude. It's not in question that whether Wegovy works or does. It works. It's studied. The science is there. I agree.
The results are there.
The results are there. The expected side effects are also there. It's been well documented that, when you take your shot, your side effects are going to be strong those next couple of days, and then they're going to wane off towards the end of the week. And then you replay the cycle as you continue to work the medication.
Headaches, fatigue, diarrhea,
so
gastrointestinal pain.
You're going to feel like crap for the following 2 to 3 days. Those side effects are slowly going to fade as it's been in your system longer, and you just work through this. The problem was not with Wegovy itself. The problem was, or the accusation is,
allegedly,
allegedly, hims and hers was not getting away from doing what you were saying, which is compounding your own formula, which is dangerous to patients
and illegal.
Yes, and illegal. So I personally have no issue with people using Wegovy or whatever their spice of life is with semaglutides. But my issue is when people, it was the day ball thing back in the day. Oh, I lost all this weight, but I didn't do it. I did it natty. I didn't do it using Wegovy, when clearly in like a 30-day window, you lost a ridiculous amount of weight that would be basically unattainable doing it naturally.
I think when you look at this stuff, you guys, I think I'm a guy that's terrified of, here, let me screw with my pancreas and see what happens.
Right.
Because that's what a lot of these Wegovy, semaglutide, it causes things like pancreatitis, which is inflammation of your pancreas, which I don't know if you know this, but there's that one little letter C associated with your pancreas. It's a death sentence.
Yeah.
So I want nothing to do with that. And then there's all of this nonsense. You look at the Wegovy, Ozempic face, and you whether you choose the Mounjaro route, whatever it is, look at how bad your face looks.
Yeah.
And you look at these folks, and you look at the way that their eyes droop and their faces fall off.
I also think, though, one thing that's important with these pictures, and I don't know what it looks like nowadays. These were when this first got hot, and I do think a lot of these issues with these people that we're looking at here, I can't tell me that this isn't a result of compounding. Because
I don't think it is, man. I think it doesn't matter who you want to look at. I mean, I just don't know how you get away from this. And it's really difficult. These are famous people. Like Sharon Osbourne's another one that I'm just like, God damn.
But the obviously their stature in society, them being famous,
but look,
means. But what I'm saying is
Scott
these
Disick's
people,
face.
Right? No, I'm not disagreeing. His face is jacked. I don't disagree with that. This did bad things to his face.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that these people should not have been taking Wegovy. These schemers wanted an easy button to lose 30 pounds. They took it early on, right when it came to the market, and this is what happens. Like
I don't agree. I think from what I've read anyway, the pen face, we'll call it what you want. What this is you were fat enough that you're, like, again, I'll just put the one picture up there of Scott Disick because I think it's just so crazy. You look at his eyes, there used to be fat there. You look at his cheekbones, and one of the things you guys will see a lot of in the Wegovy people is right here under your cheekbones. Your cheekbones, it looks like, get pushed out. Well, they don't get pushed out. It's just that your skin shrinks because there's no fat there anymore. And you look like a skeleton.
Right. But
why not just do it the healthy way?
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. You took the easy button, so it stripped fat from parts of your body that your body typically wouldn't take fat from. That's my point, is that if you're, let's just say, like these celebrities, right? These celebrities, maybe I'm just throwing arbitrary numbers, but like you're 200 pounds and you look great, you're jacked, you look awesome, but mentally you really want to only be 150 pounds. You feel like 150 is your number. Well, that doesn't mean you should take Wegovy, right? That just means that you didn't want to do it naturally because it's hard. It's very difficult. You didn't want to do it naturally. So what happened? You took this drug, and it's the unintended consequences. So I don't have any problem with people using Wegovy. I have no issue with it at all. I do think there are people in our world who really struggle to lose weight, who are obese, but their body naturally wants to put on more weight. Like, we know that that's true.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those folks, I have no problem with you taking Wegovy to help yourself. That's not an issue. But I'm not going to sit here and feel bad for Hollywood when you were not obese. You just didn't like how you looked. So you wanted to lose a bunch of weight that you really didn't have to lose. And now your face looks way different.
Some of these pictures
are gnar.
I mean,
absolutely gnar.
Look, here's where it'll start. Jessica Simpson and Dzik. Look at Robbie Williams.
Yeah. Now, this is a good example right here, though. Look at this. I actually don't think his face looks that bad. What looks way different on him? His chin through his neck.
Chin through his neck.
That's what looks different on him.
That's rough. And it doesn't get better. I think Katy Perry on the left is as beautiful of a starlet as you can have. Whatever this thing is on the right,
her makeup's not helping her either. With all due respect,
she does not look good after the pen, in my opinion.
See, and this is what I mean. Katy Perry did not need Wegovy. You didn't need a drug to help you lose weight, dude.
She's beautiful,
great.
and I hate it. I hate it. You look at Lizzo. I mean, obviously Lizzo was, and she's talked about how she was morbidly obese.
Yeah.
How do you and I think she actually looks great.
Yeah.
Here's my question. How do you keep it off? If you go from morbidly obese to this and then you stop using that?
Well, what they say is that if you go off of it, you gain about 30% back.
You almost, and it's not like over a year. It is rapidly that you gain 30 to 40% of your weight back. And it almost always starts with water gain. Weight gain.
I think there's this big misconception around this drug. I think people see these gnarly ass pictures and they're like, oh, the drug did horrible damage to their face. No, it's not the drug doing this to their face. The drug is going to make you lose weight. You chose to keep going and it stripped fat from your body.
Would you call that? And this is Sharon Osbourne on the screen.
Right.
I wouldn't even call this a side effect. This is what losing weight looks like.
Yes.
And when you
lost
lose
too much,
when you go full Zoom room weight loss on your ass, this is what's going to, can you imagine?
This is a perfect example of what you're saying right now. Look at her face. Her face. She does not need to lose weight on the left. You look great.
Yeah. But again, I look at somebody like Lizzo. What does she look like naked? What does Dzik look like naked?
I don't know.
Not good. You can't tell me these dudes look good. Are you telling me Robbie Williams looks good naked after losing all that weight? Dude, you can't get rid of the marks and the sagging skin. And I mean, Lizzo is probably the better example of that conversation because she was so big.
Yeah, she is a fit for this drug.
I would agree with that.
This is what Wegovy, its intended purpose was to help someone who was extremely obese, someone who was so obese, it was hard for them to move. They would have a difficult time, literally a difficult time walking.
Lizzo has talked about, she was on Howard Stern, and this was a year ago at least. She had trouble performing at one point because she could not breathe. She was so far out of breath. And she's somebody that had tried, she had yo-yo dieted. She is somebody that had worked out. She had done cardio. She had tried everything and couldn't keep the weight off, lose it and keep it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went on the pen and saw huge results. And I give her credit for that. But I just hope that this all came with the idea that this was a change for the rest of your life. And then you had a plan. And you executed on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I hope, because you start looking at these pictures of Lizzo. It's
a wild difference, dude.
It is amazing the shape that she is in and the stories that she has told about her weight loss and what it's done to her body. I mean, I give her a lot of credit just for talking about it. And the thing I love about Lizzo, other than the fact that she's stupidly talented, the gal is just
Pipes.
Incredibly talented. But she's also really brave.
Yeah.
Look at the pictures she's posting. The ridicule that she will get. One, she's a woman, so we all want to talk about, the TNA and but she's a human being that is, you and I both know how this world works. She's black, she's a female, and she's overweight. She's going to take an enormous amount of heat. Like I am certain that she takes a lot of bullying. But you look at the way that she has transformed her body, and you look at the things that she's done, I give that woman so much credit for the courage she shows doing this.
Right.
Because I think it is incredibly difficult to put yourself out there. If you're Lizzo and you're putting yourself out here in these photos, dude, that's really difficult to do.
Yeah.
That's scary as hell. It's not nearly as scary for a guy like Robbie Williams, right? Katy Perry. Why, Katy?
Don't know.
Why? Like, it's,
Yeah.
but this is who we are, and this is what we talk about, right? It's what we do with women. Fight On says Katy Perry in that picture looks like a 50-something Madonna. I thought the same thing. The picture on the right reminds me of Madonna.
Yep.
And the current incarnation of Madonna is not good.
No, it's not.
Did you guys see Sharon Stone? Oh my God. Let me see if I can find that picture. Sharon Stone is talking about the remake of oh my God, I can't remember the name of the movie she was. Not Basic Instinct. Was it Basic Instinct? I can't remember. Anyway, Sharon Stone and Michael Douglas, they wanted to remake that movie. I think she made almost no money on that movie. Let's call it might have been $500,000 that she made on that movie. That was however many years ago. They wanted to do a remake of that movie. And they said, we'll pay you $500,000. That's all they offered her. Again, she said, no, I'm not doing it. Because she knows they can't make it without her. And it's unreal that Sharon Stone, it is Basic Instinct, by the way. I'm getting the picture now. Have you ever seen Basic Instinct? Oh my God. It was absolutely the forearm strengthening movie of my teenage years. It was Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, you guys, she was, good Lord, bro. I mean, you couldn't even, I mean, the leg switch she did in that movie it was unbelievable.
Yeah. And
you look at her now, and I'm trying to find the image of her, but she basically, she's still hot as hell, man. Like, I can't find the image, of course, but I thought it was on Drudge, but she looks fantastic. And she won't do Basic Instinct, the remake, because they only want to pay her $500,000, which is crazy to me. Yeah, I can't find the new picture, but she's beautiful, dude. Sharon Stone, and everything that she's done is, it's amazing to me that she only made $500,000 in that movie. Damn, I wish I could find that picture. You guys would be amazed. Anyway, when you think of hot starlet, who do you from your childhood even? Can you even think of a hot chick from your childhood? Well, Little Orphan Annie.
No, not really, to be honest with you.
You can't.
No.
Here's a current picture. There's Sharon Stone right there. Here is a current picture of Sharon Stone. Look how good she looks. Sure, she's aged, but she looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing to me. And they paid her $500,000 for that movie. And I think Michael Douglas made like $7 million. And, Eric Wasikowski looks better than Jake's golf pant pics. Well, yeah, I don't know what you did at the pool. So Jake goes to the pool the other day, right? You and your girlfriend go up to Deer Valley.
Yeah, Grand Hyatt.
And you post like this thirst trap picture of yourself.
Okay.
With like these swim trunks on.
Stay hard.
And
you say that I'm a meat gazer?
Guy, You can't look at that picture and not think of a sausage fest.
That's not on me.
Yes, it is.
That's not on me.
Oh my God!
Nope.
I would never me.
That's a ridiculous accusation.
And you and I both know right now.
Erroneous on both counts.
No, it's not. You and I both know right now. Oak State James is running for your Instagram to try and get that picture. You had no idea what you were doing.
No.
Perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Oh my God.
No, I didn't.
Just stop.
No, I didn't.
Hello, Instaface.
Okay. Farrah Fawcett, yes. Oh, my wife the other day put like those wavy curls in her hair, almost like the feathered look. Oh, it was so amazing. So amazing. Cindy Crawford, yes. Yes, Cindy Crawford. Hey, there's Big Daddy Magic. What's up, Big Daddy Magic?
Let me guess, you're going to work in a Victor reference. And well, Buddha Victor would have been better than her.
I don't know. Have you seen, you haven't, I've been out of town all weekend, so I haven't, I haven't really.
What?
I haven't really been tracking the Big Daddy Magic videos. I have 1,000,001 messages in my Instagram inbox. So. Okay. Oh, it's a nude. You guys.
Hey, players, let's bet. If there's not an NBA champion today, I will buy you whatever you want on the dollar. But if the Indiana Pacers or Oklahoma City Thunder win tonight, you have to buy me a 3X
red Buffalo Bills t-shirt.
Sleeved red Buffalo Bills logo t-shirt. Bye.
There's that. And you know what the funny thing is? Wait, let's see. Hello. Why are you not playing, bro? Well, it won't play. You never sent me a video. You never sent me a video on your disappointment over Kevin Durant not going to the Spurs.
Come on, man.
Big Daddy Magic was like, "Oh, Victor, Kevin Durant, we're winning the whole thing every year from here on out, bro."
I'm going to say this again.
Bills t-shirts for everybody. Yet he's not. He went to Houston.
Too bad.
Oh, Kathy Ireland. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, the natural. I do what I do. I try to help you all in saving the day. Anyway, all right. So you don't want to admit to the thirst trap. Okay.
Wasn't a thirst trap. It's posting a pool picture. It wasn't.
Right. You didn't post a pool picture. You posted a picture of your pool noodle.
Okay. Well, so that's not on me, dude. That's not on me, dude.
You're not trying to rub that off on me with like, oh, you're the meat. No.
Whatever, dude.
The Monty Show presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Slip and Paul at the pool, advocates.com, where you get clear, risk-free advice 24/7, 365. You can talk to an injury attorney live online at theadvocates.com, and you never pay a penny out of pocket. But you don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case. Theadvocates.com. Don't forget 40% off all day long, site-wide, buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.